When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I grew older, I set aside childish ways. Corinthians 13:11. In the distant future, mankind has spread into the stars and found it is not alone. Within the cluster of planets known as the Silrain Heart, many races strive for survival or supremacy. But throughout this array of planets, societies, and cultures, each has one thing in common: the crucibles. Scattered throughout the galaxy, each moon-sized structure contains a core of raw sorin, a form of mysterious energy used to power ships, cities, and sometimes the warping of the fabric of reality itself. Beings who can do this have been given a name: Espers. The power of God has been granted to God's children. It is a time of terror. It is a time of wonder. It is the time of Esper Genesis.
Man, every time I see and hear that intro, I just get a little bit of a chill. It's similar to some of the other intros with the wonderful music and video done by Matt Van Roon and Kilobyte, respectively. But man, it psychs me up, and I hope you folks are psyched up as well. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Arvanauts, to day 21 of Esper Genesis, The Voyage Home. I hope you like that. I thought it just came to me. It felt kind of science fiction-y, and I thought that maybe The Voyage Home is something, an idea whose time has come. I think that's, basically. But I will talk more about the details of why this stream and all of that stuff in just a minute, because there is definitely quite a bit to talk about in terms of scheduling and stuff going forward. So I will do that in just a moment. Before I do, please remember, everybody, about the ways to support the stream. Following the channel would be much appreciated, first of all, as always. Checking out the YouTube with !ArvTube so you can see past broadcasts of the stream is helpful as well. As Echo has been nice enough to put up there, please make sure to retweet this stream, and thank you to those of you who already have. !Tweet will allow you to do that. !ArvTweets will also let you join my Twitter, which is always appreciated, so you can see when I am having a stream like this, if something is a little bit out of order schedule-wise, because I always am able to talk about that stuff on my Twitter. Arv Shop will get you over to the merchandise area, where you can check out some of the merchandise we have right now for Infinity and Beyond, but soon we'll also include some others, including some Esper Genesis and hopefully Adventures of Middle-earth as well. And then, of course, we've got the website for all of this, which is arvaneleron.com. And I'm keeping foreigners awake. Hey, listen, as long as Tobik, as long as you're being kept awake with something that will give you pleasant dreams later, that's how I look at it. But thank you for staying awake with us. Exclamation point Arf Treon will allow you to support the Patreon, which currently is sitting at $367.96. That has fluctuated up and down and up a little bit. But again, we're trying to move that up towards and past 400. That really is the financial backbone of the channel, and it definitely makes a difference, especially with things coming up, which I'll talk a little bit about in just a second. That also gets you cool stuff as well as getting the channel cool stuff. So please consider supporting us over there. It allows you as well to get inspiration for the players, which is something that they may or may not need this evening, along with the other thing that helps them, which is that sub button right above the sub window. No exclamation point, just hitting that sub button will allow you to do that. We are currently sitting at 40 subs, and we are heading up to try to get back to 50 and then beyond for our higher goal towards the end of the year. So please consider supporting us by subbing to the channel as well. You can get awesome custom emotes and custom sub badges. We have another emote on the way thanks to Twitch having done this. So it's going to be good stuff. I am excited for all of it, and I hope you folks are as well. Now, let me get rid of this, and let me get rid of that, and let me turn on that. Okay, hi everybody, good to see you all. It is, of course, wintertime, and we had a snowstorm here in New York City, so I ended up wearing my sweater over this, but just so you can be clear, I am ready for Esper Genesis because I am wearing today my Galaga shirt. I did not actually have, I'm saving my Esper Genesis shirt for next week, but I have my Galaga shirt, so I feel like I have appropriately sort of fit the description, as it were. So, two things I want to mention. First of all, about schedule. The reason that we are doing the schedule this way and that we're having them stream on Monday is that because things are difficult for a couple of people in March in terms of scheduling, this is the way that we're going to be able to get in 2 sessions this month. And the reason we need to do that is, or the reason that I can do that is because I am on spring break this week. Now, my spring break today consisted of writing, grading papers, and then shuttling my daughter around to various appointments and things. So, but still, the point was I was not teaching in class today because of being on spring break. And so it means that I can actually stream tonight and tomorrow. So I mentioned to everyone that there might be a bonus stream, and that is indeed what we have. So we've got Esper Genesis going on today. We will also have Esper Genesis going on a week from Friday, and I am happy to say that a week from Friday, I will be joined by the full crew, and one of those people, Mr. Carlos Hernandez, will be with me live and in person because he and I are both going to be at the International Conference for the Fantastic and the Arts down in Orlando. So we will be down there together. So just as I, with Johnny Pittman, last year at PAX Unplugged, we were able to do a stream like remoting in the others, and then he and I were live in the same place. We'll be able to do that with Carlos as well, live and in person with everyone everyone else being remoted in. So that's going to be good times. I'm very excited about that. So that is happening Friday the 15th. Also, other schedule has been pretty much firmed up now. Masters of the Dungeon is set. The Infinity and Beyond crew is set. Pretty much the other ones are more or less set. The Arvocalis as well, I think. So we've got, and of course, Adventures of Middle-earth. So we've got everything pretty much set up, but that is the deal. One part of the schedule, which is very, very important, has to do with this. This is happening on Tuesday the 19th. So 2 weeks from tomorrow will be the official launch of Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library. Why is this important? Because this is the adventure that I wrote, that I run at the Gen Con Writer Symposium for Authors, the third and final part of which I will be running at this year's symposium. This is done live in front of a studio audience, as it were, live in front of an audience there. And I'm very happy to say that the Alligator Alley Entertainment people, who of course run this amazing campaign, Esper Genesis, which is sponsored, of course, by them, they will be publishing this, and we are running a Kickstarter for it starting 2 weeks from tomorrow. So I'm very excited about this. It is a level 1 to 3 adventure, starting at level 1, designed to get you to level 3. You can create your own characters, or you can use ones that are provided in this book. It is fully 5th edition compatible, and it is going to also be a source book. So as we move up in stretch goals, as the Kickstarter moves on in its funding, we will have more and more people that will be able to contribute bestiary entries, spells, maps, things like this, all that would be considered to be parts of the things you might find within the library. So that's going to be great. I'm very excited about this, and this is one of several publishing projects, the other ones of which I've also got a lot of info about that I can't reveal yet, but I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. So this is going to be, as I say, happening in this. So I'm super, super excited. Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library. I'm really happy about that art too, and that again is coming out starting, that will be the Kickstarter for that will start in 2 weeks. Oh, thank you, Carlos. About which more in a moment. But yes, Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library. Very excited about that. So that is happening 2 weeks from tomorrow. The launch for that, and that will run through April 19th. So that is happening. Very excited about it. Good stuff. And in fact, you can actually see one of the Alligator Alley Entertainment people in chat right now, who maybe knows something about this project. So anyway, it's going to be really cool. I'm excited about it. Now, with that said, I am finally going to unmute myself because I finally babbled on for long enough, and I'm going to unmute my wonderful players, and I'm going to move over here to the wonderful Esper Genesis crew, and they are all here for the Voyage home, which was a completely original concept title by myself. And I will
Great movie.
Oh yes, thank you. And I will, as always, start with the gentleman all the way to the left as you look at the screen, and that is, of course, Mr. Johnny Pittman at VidStore Cowboy. Hello, Video Store Cowboy. How is life in the universe with you, sir? And who are you playing today?
Hi. I'm not like busy like reading the book or anything, trying to level up my character because I forgot to.
Mm-hmm.
No, not me. I'm good. No, I'm good. No, hey.
Professional.
Yeah, seriously, professional. So, yeah, that's basically. I think all of us are doing that right now, and I'm coming to discover some things that are really interesting. So I don't have much to say other than my head is trapped in the book, looking at stuff for level 4, and I'm an Ashenforge melder by the name of Aramis, who's quite a drunk and likes to give the kid a hard time. No offense, Sleeple.
Yeah.
Yes, Sleeple, the kid. I am excited to see more from Aramis. It's going to be good times.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to see what wait to see what he picks out for his very well conceived 4th level that he's thought about for many weeks. I'll be coming back to him about that. Meanwhile, as we move on, we have someone who has got, this is not a green screen. I want you to know that the inimitable Cat Rambo is in a new and spectacular space. So you can see, like, I mean, this is, I wonder if I can like zoom out. Let me just try to zoom out the camera here so I can get it in all its glory. No, not that. There we go. All right. So I'm just going to zoom this out, right? I'm going to show you all of the widescreen. Look at that. See?
Please get the boxes on the floor if you can.
I'll make sure to get all of that in. See, there we go. Look at that. Oh, wow. All sides. That's dramatic. No, but so, yes, Kat has got this amazing new space. And, yeah, congratulations on that, Kat. How is life? I guess the move was okay. I guess you're happy with this place. How is life and who are you playing?
Well, it's okay, except I just got mail from the landlord who's like, well, I was showing it today and noticed there's a cupboard that still has food in it. And I was like, God damn it. I thought I'd gotten every single bit. So I guess I'll be going over one more time tomorrow. But other than that, life is fine.
Congratulations on the new place. And today you are playing?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm running Petra Sinis, and also Ashenforge. She is a sentinel and carries a very large hammer.
Yes, which she used to great effect, by the way.
Much. That's right. She usually uses it to great effect.
Yes, and used it to great effect and was able to really impress her good friend Tazora Markley, who now you know they're like this. They're complete buddy and you know all that stuff. It'll be fun to see how that interaction continues, but always a pleasure to have Kat with us. Moving right along, of course, and I mentioned this before off air, but someone whose name you should be seeing far and wide across the internets because he has been popping up in my feed all over the place. This guy he's got some buzz. He's got some serious buzz coming up for a book that I'm going to let him describe in great detail. I'm sure he hasn't had to do that 6 quadrillion times this past week, but I'm sure he doesn't mind talking about it. So I will say, Carlos, congratulations on everything. Tell us about the amazing book that is launching on Thursday, if I am not mistaken.
So the book party is on Thursday, but the book actually launches tomorrow. So
launches tomorrow, but the book party is Thursday. Okay, right.
That's right. Yeah. So Sal and Gabby breaks the universe. It's coming out on tomorrow.
On tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's been crazy. It's been just like a very much a whirlwind. So like this weekend, I'm flying to North Carolina for an event. We're doing IFCA. I have more travel, and it's just what is amazing about it is just, you know, I just wanted to write some stories and stuff like that. When I got out of grad school, thought I'd be sort of like this, edgy, indie writer and whatever. And now, like, I'm being like
Now you're a
escorted.
sellout. No, I'm just
No,
kidding.
no, no.
Just
Now
kidding.
I'm like showing up to like middle schools and elementary schools to give reading to kids, So
Yep.
like all that vocabulary I learned in graduate school is useless. Just totally.
Actually,
Totally.
I want to ask you. No, I remember talking to Lou Andrews about this when he started publishing his Thrones and Bones stuff. That he said that the experience of doing this was like rock star. Like he walked into these places and like the kids were he said it was the greatest thing he'd ever experienced. Like it really was like glamour and glory. Have you felt like it's been like middle school rock star type thing? Like how have you
A
felt?
little bit, this is just at the beginning and stuff like that. But like at Symphony Space, when I gave that performance with all the other Rick Riordan Presents writers, it was like truly like uninhibited cheering, and that is just it's just, again, like instead of like the coffee house where 6 people are there and 4 of them are there for the band that's going to come on after you.
Yep.
Like it's a very different vibe. So it's very exciting, tons of fun. I gave my first elementary school presentation last week, and those kids are just brilliant. It was just so I haven't set foot in an elementary school in years, and it was great. So all sorts of just like stuff I never expected to be doing. So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome. You deserve it, and I can't wait to get it and read it to my own daughter. And this is exactly the right age at the moment for it, at the age of 11. So she is right in the wheelhouse. So I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, congratulations on that. And while we have you, for when not promoting this and when playing your mild-mannered character on Esper Genesis, who is that when you're playing?
That is Ludicrous Sleepwell, who hasn't had a good night's sleep, ironically, this whole time that we've been, running around in space. And so he's a Valna cat humanoid who loves technology in a culture that hates technology. And so he's trying to find himself in a larger galaxy, since his home world can't really tolerate people like him.
Yep, and that's one of the things we're going to be talking today about is individual goals that these folks have, as we'll discuss in just a moment. But always a pleasure to have Carlos with us. And last but certainly not least, of course, the gentleman all the way to the right, who is in the midst of, winning pretty much, getting his students to win all drumline competitions. Several movies have already been made and in the works, starring, I think it's actually Idris Elba will be playing Zach, so I'm sure he's excited
with an afro.
Yeah, that's doable. But anyway, Zach, how are you? How is stuff with the kids, both D&D and drumline related, and who are you playing today?
I'm doing great. I was just teaching today, adding new chunks to our drumline show. We're doing a new circuit, which is a lot more based on kind of like the global percussion judging around the world rather than just Northern California. So it's a lot more comprehensive, and some of the groups are really great. Then with D&D, one of D&D's writers, Ari Levitch, was kind enough to send my middle school's D&D club that I volunteer at, organized a package and gave us dozens and dozens of books and supplies for us to use. So the staff at D&D are very awesome, understandably.
Awesome. That's super cool.
But aside from that, I'm very excited for tonight because we have gained another level. Yes. Mm-hmm. And I am playing Kaz, who is a Bellare hunter, and I'm making some decisions about what swag I want to give him.
Yeah, so that actually leads me to, so again, it's a pleasure to have Zach with us, as always. Also, of course, member of the Our Vocalist in fine standing. So I should ask, is anyone ready to tell me what level 4 is going to be about for them? Like, does anyone know? Is there a command for Carlos's book? You know what, Ernell? No, but there should be. Do me a favor, Carlos. Can you put in just like a couple of main links, like if there's a website that you want people to go to first?
Oh,
like,
yeah, sure.
Tell me that, and then we'll add it into the channel. Yeah, thank you, Ernell, for mentioning that. That's why my mods are the best. As he's doing that. So is anyone else ready to tell me about their awesomeness level 4? See, I would expect that a SIFWA president is so organized. So organized. Yes, Kat, I am ready. Tell us what it is you have, what powers Petra has gained.
Actually, I'm going to use the +2 points to add to Dex,
Dex, interesting. Okay.
which moves me from a -3 on everything to a -2 on everything.
Okay. All righty. I'm going to make a note of same. Also, I just want to confirm. Blah blah blah. Right. So
You want to
that's-
know, like at 3, we picked our paths. I don't know if you have that recorded.
I think I did, but
Okay.
but tell me again because I'm just looking at the book now, not at my notes.
Path of the Champion.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Path of the Champion. Which, by the way, means at level 5, so next level, that means that Petra will get Detoxify and Minor Remedy, which will add a little bit onto the, mix of healing and the like. And that will also make it possible for you to do some other things as time goes on, like basically this gives more things, like more Esper powers as time goes on, which is really useful. So that's going to be cool. And I should also point out that next level, also Petra will be able to attack twice instead of once, which is a little troubling.
That's exciting.
Because I don't.
Well, and my healing pool has gone from 15 points to 20 points.
Yeah.
So
So basically,
another
you become more of a
healing
badass.
thing.
Is basically what we're saying. No, that's great. I am very excited to see it. So yeah, and hit points. We got to make sure we get that down. So, you need to roll for me a 1d10 plus con modifier to see the very important roll. So everyone will wait to see what we get here. 1d10 plus con modifier to see what the new hit point total will be. I wait with bated breath.
It doesn't make me type badly to have everyone watching me or anything. Why is it so roll? Whack, isn't it whack roll? What am I doing wrong? Oh shit, I'm doing it in the wrong window.
You mean
You're all watching
Brel.
me do it. No, you're not.
Brel it.
So can you move ahead, Greg, and I'm going to look for that window somewhere in this morass of windows.
One of those windows is here.
I'm sure Johnny's ready.
I will jump over to him. I will jump over to him. Can we add in, let's see, Ardinal, you may not know how to do this yet. I don't know. If you do know how to add in stuff to that command, that would be great. And if not, then we should add it. So when Dragon Spear or Shadowed Mage or one of those folks gets in, find out from them, because I could do it, but it'll take me too long to explain. And then they can do it. You saw me, don't remember. That's fine. So just when they get in, we'll do that, and then we'll add that link that just maybe cut and paste what Carlos just wrote, what Write, Teach, Play just wrote, and then we'll make sure that we have that link for him. And we'll do something like, I don't know, Sal and Gabby would be a good command. ! Sal and Gabby, I think would be fine. Okay, so while Kat searches for the window, I assume one of the rest of you is ready.
Yeah.
Just tell.
All
right.
Yeah, I think I am.
All right. What do we got? Lay it on me, Kaz. So the new improved Kaz
Yes.
has what new
So
things?
let's do hit points first.
All right.
So that we're sure about that. So I think I have to do a D10 plus 2 for me.
That is, I believe, correct. Yes, D10 plus your con modifier, so D10 plus 2.
6.
6. Above
Very-
average.
Very average.
All right.
Okay.
So you're
So I'm
now
at 31.
Yep. And I'll say that all of you will be able to start with maximum hit points. Many of you took quite a bit of damage, but you'll start with maximum today.
Cool.
So, all right,
Oh,
31.
and then look at
31.
cats. Nice.
Okay. Oh, damn.
I rolled,
Wow.
Greg.
All right. There we go. The
Suitable
11.
for the tank. Yeah.
See, 11. So we're talking 41 out of 41 now.
Mhm.
All right. Good stuff. Lovely. So that's 41 out of 41. Kaz is 31 out of 31. Now, Kaz, what new awesomeness have you gained at the hunter level of 5? Four, not 4. Not 4.
Oh, level 5.
At
Okay.
the level of 12. No, at the level of 4.
Okay. So I want to discuss with you, Dungeon Master. Is that your title in this game?
In this
is it
one,
Dungeon
I'm known as a game master.
Game Master? Okay. or
Star
should you be called
Master.
Space Master?
Yes,
Oh,
I am the Star Master.
Star
Not
Master.
to be confused with Star Lord, which is a totally different scenario.
Yeah, that's an
Franchise.
NPC.
Yes.
Okay. So, first of all, are we able to use the feats that are in the core manual?
Yes, I mentioned actually I mentioned Zoom that yes, feats are
Okay.
allowed. Yes.
So here's what I want to discuss. You know, I like using my sniper, which we've already discussed was kind of like this special offshoot of sniper. So
True.
just to go over that again, the normal how a normal sniper rifle works is you have to use an attack and an attack action and a bonus action to use it. So that's why I can't sniper and hunter's mark in the same turn,
Right.
because it's a huge bulky thing. I have to be at least 40 feet away from anything I'm sniping unless I want disadvantage.
Yep.
It crits on a 19 or 20. And then there's some recoil stuff, but because this is the sniper that's built into my arm and recoil is a strength-based thing, we decided that we're going to forego the recoil. But if I pick up a normal sniper rifle, I will have to
Right.
deal with that.
Yes to all.
So that's all in the book, and that's what we've been doing. So there's this feat that I want to pick up that is called Speed Shot, and it is very interesting. So
Okay.
the way one of the first benefits of Speed Shot is that I'll read the bottom one first.
Okay.
I make an attack with the attack action with a one-handed weapon. So I'm thinking like that that energy shiv that I found a few episodes ago in the little escape pod in the
Yes.
what's it called? In the I'm forgetting the names of everything.
Tangerel?
Yes, in the Tangerel.
Okay.
I have that little energy shiv. So it says if I make an attack with that one-handed weapon and then I have a pistol in my other hand, which is my arm pistol, I guess.
Right.
I could make an attack with that pistol using a bonus action. So I can now attack with the energy shiv and do a bonus action pistol.
Yes, which is basically some just Devil May Cry.
Yes.
Awesomeness, which has to happen. 100%.
So-
Yes. Now that's not, and remember, pistol being distinguished from your sniper, which is
Totally.
which I
Yes,
would not
that would be
allow.
ridiculous if I could
Slash
be like,
sniper
"Ew."
from like 2 feet away.
Yeah, no. That's
Oh.
understandable. So now I'm a little more optimal for close up. The next thing with the feat is the middle benefit is it says when making a weapon attack with a ranged weapon against a target within 5 feet of you, you do not have disadvantage to the attack roll. So that works for something like an arm pistol. Like if I was trying to shoot someone that was right next to me with a ranged weapon,
Right.
then I could have not disadvantage.
Yep.
But how would that work with the sniper, which has a minimum distance of 40 feet?
The reason that it's not the same with the sniper actually has less to do with the distance and more with the sighting. The reason that the sniper works the way it does is basically because you're able to sight through it, so that your aim of it means that you're aiming for, sort of vital areas. So that's really the issue with the distance. I mean, technically, you could the bullet's effectiveness is going to be the sort of ammunition's effectiveness will be effective after, 15, 20 feet. So it's not that so much as it is the fact that you need to sight, and that's not going to change just because you have the sort of swift shot. Essentially, think of it as like a quick draw. You can quick draw, but you can't necessarily quick sight. Although I could be persuaded, not at this level, but I could later on be persuaded that if you were to sort of make some sacrifices and do some other stuff and do some narrative adventuring parts of it, whatever, I could imagine a scenario where you could basically find something that essentially combines the sniper more with your own body, such that you're almost kind of, I hate to get sort of silly about it, you're almost sort of like in tune with you're like cosmically in tune with the universe as you target. Like you're sort of, yes, you saw what I did there. No, you're just kind of like, like you're almost not really sighting visually anymore. That's a that's way higher level miss.
I'll keep that in mind for the long game.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that won't affect the sniper.
Still pretty awesome on the short line,
Mm-hmm. Something I might do, like just in Cause's futures, I might try to work on the specifics of the weapons that are in my suit and maybe like try to add a weapon modification or something, like maybe add a shotgun. But I would do that like canonically in game, like go through whatever tinkering checks or whatever I'd have to do.
Yep. 100%.
Okay. So the last thing is for speed shot is it says I ignore the reload property of any firearm with which I am proficient.
Mhm.
So normally with reload, that means what reload means is that because of the time required to load this weapon, and reload is applied to basically almost every firearm. It says, because of the time required to load this weapon, you can only fire one piece of ammunition from it when you use an action, bonus action, or reaction to fire it, regardless of the number of attacks you can normally make.
Mhm.
So that means with my pistol and my sniper, I can only make one attack per turn.
Right.
With this feat, theoretically, if I had access to more attacks per turn, like at 5th level, then I could technically attack more than once.
I would accept that.
The only weird thing is the sniper says technically it uses an action and a bonus action. So would I still be able to use an action and a bonus action, but then have 2 attacks in the action part?
Well, if you're able to, yeah, because if you're attacking twice, you are
Yeah.
basically attacking twice as part of a single attack action.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that still would apply. So you'd still be able to, yeah, it's the bonus.
Okay.
It's just using up the action part of it. So as long as it's subdividing the action and doesn't
Mhm.
require action plus bonus action or something like that, then
Yeah.
yes. If there were, like, for example, specialized ammo that you got later on that was
Mhm.
sort of, I don't know, armor piercing or something, and it took longer to load and you required a bonus action for that, then you probably wouldn't be able to do this necessarily. But if you're just talking about an action and that's all it takes to fire it, then yeah, that would this would help, well, ameliorate that problem, so that when you actually get the 2 attacks, you can use them. You can attack twice
Okay.
with the sniper.
All right. So yeah, so that's the feat I'm taking. I'm not upgrading any ability scores, although I could certainly use it. And we never, also, I didn't go over the subclass as the last thing here of Kaz. Originally, I wanted to do the Mechanor subclass of Hunter, which would basically allow me to have like a drone that could follow me around.
Mhm.
And partly because of narratively, like I think Kaz, I did have him like carry around drone parts for a time, but those are really heavy, and I think I left them on the Hyperlance
Right.
because otherwise I would just be carting around like 50, 60 pounds of drone
Right.
everywhere I'm going. I think I'm going to go with the Stalker subclass, which lets me scan enemies for immunities, resistances, vulnerabilities, and stuff. And then it actually also gives me an extra attack on my first turn in combat, which is super cool.
Right. Which is
Tactical ambush. Yeah.
Tactical ambush. If you can make attack, yep. And
So
also
with
it
that-
also takes additional damage equal to your wisdom modifier. Now,
Yeah.
but we are kind of ex post factoing this though, because
Mhm.
because you were using this on level, because
I haven't been using this at all.
because you haven't been using the drone, right?
No, I haven't. I haven't had a drone.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think that you're making an adjustment that's appropriate. Sleepwell's more the drone person anyway in the group, I think.
Yeah.
And it seems more like you're just like, you realize you are giving up on the prospect of having Fluffy with the laser eyes. Just I'm letting you know that
I didn't know that was an option.
that is left behind.
I mean, we would. The thing is I'm totally down to do the Mechanor. It's just that we would have to get to a place narratively where it makes sense for Kaz to start to either find a drone or an actual like animal companion, or to have the chance to build one.
Well, okay, so I will say I don't want to give stuff away, but depending on what you decide to do, that might be available to you. So it's really more of a question now of what you want to, what you want Kaz to be going forward.
Yeah. Well, I'll take some time to think a little bit, and you could. Oh, I mean, another part of the Stalker, though, the subclass, is that you get spells, extra spells.
That's true.
So I don't know. We'll
Yeah,
see.
I mean alter appearance. So you basically want to become Predator, is what
Kind of.
this basically is. So
Yeah.
we want
So we'll see. I'll think about it a little bit more.
All right.
I think I'm still gonna do the Stalker subclass, but
Okay, yeah, you think about it, and we will decide.
Cool.
Good
Thank
stuff.
you.
All right, let us move on to. So we've dealt with Petra, we've dealt with Kaz. That leaves us Sleepwell and Aramis. Who is ready to tell us next about what is in their class?
I'm pretty ready.
All right.
So,
Lay it on me.
As far as I can tell, I would either get a feat or be able to just boost ability scores. And at first I was thinking I was going to boost ability scores, and that definitely is going to be in the future at some point. But I think just because of the sort of like narrative thing, very much like what you were saying, Zach, I was looking at the feat Fortuitous, and Fortuitous seems to very much describe the way that Sleepwell has survived up to now.
Okay, tell us what it is.
So basically, once per long rest, Sleepwell will now have 3 D6s, and he can use any or all of them to help with specific roles. They can help with what are they? Ability checks, saving throws, or attack rolls. And you basically you roll your normal dice, but then you roll a D6 as well and add the D6 roll on top of the other roll. Or it can be used to subtract from an attack somebody's making against me. And you can use 1 to 3 dice depending on how many are available, and they become available again after long rests once they are expended.
Okay, so you have 3 of these dice which you can use. And for a minute I thought you were like, it was like you have 18 points of which to do this, but it's not. So it's 3 dice and you can expend them at that time. Yeah, I mean, the opening line in the description is you have an uncanny amount of luck. So I feel like Sleepwell, this is on brand. Like
exactly.
I feel like Sleepwell.
That's what I was
completely
thinking.
on that. Yes. I'm totally down with that. Yeah, you can absolutely do that. So just be aware, though, your next ability score improvement will not happen till 8th. So just be aware that, you close a door and open another, as it were.
It's always about interesting choices, right?
Okay. So I love it with the feat. Also, you have more prime talents available to you, and more first and second level tech slots, too.
I thought it was just 1 tech slot.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I beg your pardon. Just one.
I thought it was 4-3 now. But how many? I'm sorry. There's another prime talent that I didn't see.
Yeah, 4 prime talents, and you have you maintain your 4 first level tech slots, but you now have 3 second level tech slots instead of 2.
Okay, so I'll have to find the prime slot just because I didn't see that, so I haven't had a chance to research that.
Okay.
In the meantime, though, I'm happy to roll for.
Let's see
my
those hit points. Yes.
So, and here it goes. Oh, nice roll.
Hey, wow, look at all of you. See, this is what happens. You find out some details, and you get an entire criminal organization after you, and you get more hit points. It's how it all works.
This made an even 30.
Okay,
Cool.
30 out of 30. Lovely. All right, that is good stuff. Okay, excellent. Go ahead and look at those prime talents while you're doing that. I'm going to talk to Johnny, because Aramis is totally ready to give me all of the details of what the Melder has now become at level 4, right? Yes.
Right. So, well, if you remember back a little bit farther, there's the level 2. We actually get to choose our sort of specification or specific sort of subclass, and we choose defender. So there's not much I need to really to do from that. So there's only a couple basic things like hit points. My prime talents increase from 3 to 4. My talent points, that I can use to activate particular talents goes from 14 to 17.
Mm-hmm.
And then the big thing is either whether I'm taking the attribute or the feat. And I think I'm going to take the feat. And I'm still kind of trying to figure out what's the best thing to do here. But I'm feeling like Keen Mind is probably right up Aramis's alley. And it reads as follows: your intellect is practiced and sharp. Increase your intelligence or wisdom score by 1. You recall anything that you heard within a number of weeks equal to your intelligence modifier. And this is the one that I think is most interesting to me for the group. It's by spending at least 5 minutes discussing a problem or a puzzle with your allies, you can turn any wisdom, insight, or intelligence investigation check into a group check.
Oh, interesting.
Yes,
that
so
does fit what you've been doing too.
Interesting.
I feel like that really works for Aramis, because it's either going to be that or he's just going to be he's going to be a drunk pilot, and space pilot just doesn't seem like the right thing for Aramis. So I think I'm going to go with Keen Mind.
And plus his specialty and his discipline is his Melder discipline. Doesn't this what is your Melder discipline again? Isn't it
Defender?
It's Defender, right? So that also, I mean, the Defender fits in with that, was my point. Like that connects to the sort of group sense of sort of tying things together, which is pretty sweet. By the way, at 6th level, you will get focused targeting, which allows you to focus the energies of your combat talents and basically get advantage on your channeling attack roll for that talent.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, basically he just becomes an elementalist is what we're talking about at those moments. But yeah, no, I think that's great. I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, so the focus targeting thing is definitely, you know, between 5 and 6, you know, Aramis is going to go from being a sort of interesting combat guy to a very interesting combat guy because his talent points will increase significantly between 4 and 5.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you on the way that the system works, but also that focus targeting at 6 just absolutely makes everything interesting. Now, I did think about the idea of going with the elementalist, feats, or even the combat Esper feats, but I don't think Aramis is really ready for more rugged combat just yet. So we'll might hold that off until about 8.
No, I like that idea. I think that works out as a feat. I think that's a good idea, and that leads us to your hit point roll, which for you is going to be 1d6 plus your con modifier.
So I'm going to take the average, which is going to be 4 because it rounds up, right? So I'm going to take 4 plus my con modifier is 3. So I'm going to take 7 points for an increase to 24.
Okay, so 24. Okay, cool. So as we reset here, Petra has got 41 out of 41, is appropriately the tank of the group. Kaz slightly beats out Sleepwell with 31 out of 31. Sleepwell is now at 30 out of 30, and Aramis is at 24 out of 24, which officially means that he can take a brutal hit and still be living. So that's, I think that's a that's a step up in class. This is a good level 4 for everybody, I think, actually, and it kind of sets up nicely for what goes forward. Hopefully level 5 will happen faster for you folks than level 4 did, but we will see how that goes over time. So let us get the music fired up and let me set up for everyone what it is we'll be dealing with today. Quick programming note to everyone. This show is only going to run for about another 2 hours and 15 minutes. We're starting later because we wanted to accommodate Zach getting in late and all that stuff. So we wanted, or later than normal. So, but that's fine because you're getting 2 sessions this month. So you will get a second full session on Friday the 15th. And I'm actually very excited about the session tonight for reasons I will discuss. I am also very excited because as I look at my jukebox, I've been telling this with all of my campaigns, I am looking at not a random collection of songs, not a set of, just a bunch all over the place. I am looking at a playlist of combat music, a playlist of ominous music, a playlist of peaceful music, and a playlist of soundscapes. And I am extremely pleased that I took a little bit of extra time and managed to, because of Roll20 losing Fanburst, which was kind of a blow to those of us who like to use Roll20 for things, but I have made lemonade out of lemons, and I am very excited to announce that now I can see what the hell I'm doing in terms of what song I want. None of you care about this, but I do, and that's why I'm sharing it with all of you right now, because boy, am I pumped up. So we're going to fire up a little bit of Zingu Nights here. All right. No, we're not going to fire up Zingu Nights. I changed my mind. We're going to fire up Derelict Freighter instead, because that's more appropriate, I think. There we go. Lovely. Okay, so let us talk a little bit about what happened in our last session. The crew, as many of you who have been following these adventures for some months will know, has been sort of hit the ground running and hasn't stopped from the very beginning. They have been chased from one end of the galaxy to the other. They have traveled from both... as I jump over to the galaxy map for the benefit of chat, they have traveled from Pel Tavaria, actually originally traveled from the Eos Keldor, eventually traveled to the Pel Tavaria, where they got word basically of this amazing ship called the Hyperlance, and this AI they were traveling with, Alfred, that was designed to interface with the Hyperlance. The only problem is that Alfred is potentially a murderous AI, very dangerous, and also that they were immediately found that they were on the run from people who wanted this ship as badly as they did. They escaped through a rift, basically the Keshite Rift, and traveled to the other rift, the Ariadne Rift, to find themselves at Pel Saros, a sort of small, the armpit of the galaxy, some might say, where they their ship, which had been damaged in the travel through the rift, ended up needed to be fixed, and so they decided that they would try to get it fixed at this place, Pel Saros, which is much seedier, smaller, but also where the people ask fewer questions, let us say, than might be the case at a large place like Pel Tavaria. And so they decided once they got there that they were going to try to seek out, and this was on Rona's advice, they were going to try to seek out, oh, hold on a second, we got a host coming in. Thank you, Chrono Travis, for the host. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. They decided that they would try to track down a woman named Spindra, who was an engineer who supposedly had connections and the ability to understand certain things when it came to figure out different things when it came to repairing ships. Spindra, as it turned out, the first time that they met her, she was dealing with problems with this local gang that was kind of roughing her up. And that maybe should have been a warning to them, but the crew is a trusting and loving crew, and decided that they would help Spindra, also because Spindra told them that she would be able to take them to the location of her old ship, a ship that she had worked on called the Tangerel, which would have a lot of equipment and devices and material that they would be able to use in repairing the Hyperlance. So they went with her. When they actually got to the Tangerel, they found that indeed it was there, and it was, sort of drifting along by itself. But when they got inside, they discovered the reason that it was drifting by itself is because the crew had been largely slaughtered by these creatures called Kanasi. They ended up fighting the Kanasi on their own because Spindra bailed out and left because she was apparently freaked out by the things they were fighting. But they managed to defeat the Kanasi and basically take control of the Tangerel. But the Tangerel too did not have a lot of energy left and didn't have enough fuel to be able to get back to Pelseros. And so they decided that they would go to where the shipping manifest had suggested that it was headed, which was a small moon that was orbiting this gas giant. And when they traveled to this moon, they ended up getting and finding this particular moon. There were some other things that were orbiting this planet, including a massive planetary destroying type gun that was orbiting on this platform that was orbiting around the gas giant. But they found this moon, ended up pulling into orbit, and then eventually landing there. Once they were there, they decided that they would try to see if they could get some money and some resources to get off this planet. And they ended up finding a few things. First of all, they found that there was a merchant called Sanek who was willing to buy some of the stuff they had, particularly the one remaining intact Kanasi that they had. But when they went to the ship, and I believe it was Sleepwell and Cosmeritis who were going to the ship to actually sell these things with him to kind of show him the goods. While they were going there, Petra and Aramis ended up going to this local tavern, which was called the local saloon called the Dream Pipe, where they were led by Vass, this bartender in Eldori, who was there. But they also found there a human engineer whose name was Jarva, the person who had actually owned the Tangerel previously. And they also found Tizora Marakle, this person that from Petra's Sinis's past, basically, who was always forever getting in trouble, causing problems, and basically whenever she's around, bad things are sure to follow. And sure enough, as they were there, they discovered that there was, in fact, no merchant known as Sanek. Sanek, the cyber merchant, it turned out, was none other than Ibis, who was basically sort of the local lieutenant of this base, and who had been trying to track them down and find out where the goods were that it turned out his organization, an organization I'll discuss in a moment, had ordered to begin with. They ended up being ambushed by Ibis and his pet Maximilian from the Black Hole style robot. But thanks to a very clever use of releasing the Kanasi and setting Kanasi against the actual robot, those two battled each other while the rest of them ended up battling Ibis, and with some good rolls, some bit of luck, and as I say, that sort of way of managing it, and the fact that Aramis and Petra ended up getting there in the end, they managed to... Sorry, that's my son who's yelling for entry.
Let me in.
Yeah. Anyway, so when they ended up defeating him, they found that they managed to kill him off. They managed to defeat him, and they learned that he was a member of this criminal organization called the Shadow Technocracy, which apparently has been trying to track down material and resources for some as yet unknown purpose. But they are basically sort of like a version of the space mafia, But this is much beyond their normal amount of ambitions. And the fact that they now have this base which they control, and that they are now trying to apparently get technology like, for example, Kanasi, or, for example, the Tangerol, or, for example, the Hyperlance, which they might have been chasing as well, all of that suggests that they're gearing up for something big, and the party has successfully just killed one of their lieutenants. But that's something they'll have to worry about going forward in the future. And so now, as we move back to the crew, we have literally just finished up with them having defeated the people on board the Tangerol. And it is now, I'm going to leave it up to the party in terms of what they would like to do next. All hostile parties are dead at the moment, at least the ones inside the ship. So I will now leave it up to the party as to what they want to do next.
And so, I'm sorry, are we all like at max hit points now, or like where?
Yes,
where are
I'm
we?
basically I'm sort of jumping it forward a little bit. And in fact, you know what I'll do? I'll actually just so as to avoid confusion, I will say that you are now you're on the ship, you're on the Tangerol still, but this is, let's put this forward about 24 hours. So you've had a chance to rest and kind of recover, and you basically Jarva has essentially sweet talked the guards and so forth, into kind of giving them reasons as to why, you know, they should be allowed to stay a little bit longer. Has sort of lied about his own position, you know, pretended that he was sort of speaking for Ibis and so forth. But you're running a little bit out of time from him doing his sort of tricks and machinations. So you're going to have to decide now what you want to do. You obviously have the immediate problem of trying to explain what has happened to Ibis, but then also you have to decide what you're going to do with Jarva and Vass and Tizora, because they obviously would like to leave and, you know, get off of this place. You need to think about where you want to set up shop. Do you want to go back and deal with Spindra back at Pelseros? Do you want to go all the way back to Peltiveria and set up shop there and begin to sort of follow up with both individual and group sort of goals? Do you want to try to put down stakes here? So that is sort of small and large goal things that you have to consider.
I have a question.
Okay, sure.
Did we solve our fuel problem?
Yes, if you can solve the what happened to Ibis problem. If you can solve the what happened to Ibis problem, there is enough stuff here that you have enough fuel you could get more or less anywhere you wanted to, yes.
What do you mean by solve the Ibis problem? You mean get him off the ship? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, can sort of explain to everyone why Ibis is no longer going to be appearing in a living capacity.
Anywhere. In a living capacity, yeah.
In a living capacity.
Well, okay. So speaking of that, his can we search his body, his remains?
Yes, for sure. And when you've had a chance to actually do that, you notice a few things that are interesting. There is reference to, there's basically a data pad on there, which when you've had a chance to look it over, is a data pad that makes reference to things that are arriving. There's references to the cargo is arriving. Cargo should be here soon. A lot of talk about the cargo, and a lot of stuff relating to Miracle has disappeared, disappearance of Miracle, and it's not really clear who Miracle is, except until Tizora sort of with a kind of sardonic grin says, "Yep, that's what they decided they'd use for a nickname for me, I see. Never could pronounce my name properly." So apparently she was the one to whom they were referring, although she swears, you know, up, down, and on, you know, not Bibles, a stack of Denduzi religious texts, that that she was not working for them, but that she was actually working essentially as a double agent for Jarva, that she was basically doing this to gather information for Jarva, and Jarva confirms that this is the case, that she was working for him. So that is basically what you find on there, is this data pad. You also find what seems like an access code. It's a 5-digit access code, and you don't really know what it's to. But of course, you found him originally at that sort of storefront, Sleepwell, so it's possible that there was something back there that this might go to. I mean, obviously that was a front. I mean, that was
an access code, you said?
Yes, a 5-digit access code, yeah. And this access code was not, I want to emphasize, again, it was a front, this Sanac cyber merchant thing, but, you know, maybe the place where he was connected to, I don't know, it was connected to his actual work for the Shadow Technocracy, you don't know.
So yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So this access code is 5 digits. It's just on like a chip or something?
Correct.
Okay, got it. Okay. And then this guy's actual name is Idris Elba.
No. His name is Ibis.
He's the sexiest man alive.
How do you spell it?
Ibas.
Got it. Thank you. Okay, go ahead, sleep well.
No, so Ibis was floating on a surfboard thingy, right? Or not a
Yes.
like what exactly? He wasn't quite.
It was like an anti-grav platform.
Yeah, but it was a platform, right? Yep. And he had mobility issues, if I remember correctly. Right?
That is correct. Yeah.
What did he have on?
He was wearing a kind of, I believe, sort of dark, sort of rough leather kind of tunic that he wore, and he had a big minigun, which was something that he sort of threatened you with in the episode where you were here, Carlos, but then literally got a chance to use on several occasions during combat, which the rest of the party was not wild about having to deal with, because it was a minigun. He had that, and then of course he had this robot that served him, which you managed to destroy thanks to the Kanasi battling it. And I think actually the robot defeated the Kanasi, I think it was the robot that won that fight, wasn't it? I think, and then the robot turned around and you had to deal with what was left of the robot. So
I thought they exploded.
No, that was only, but not immediately. They did explode. Whatever the winning party was exploded, but I don't recall if it was the winning party was the robot or the Kanasi.
Rock'em Sock'em Robot.
Yeah.
The winning party exploded. That kind of sucks. I won. Boom.
Yeah, well, because the winning party then fought the party with what was left, and basically what happened was...
Oh, and then lost.
Because the thing was that the party... I remember what it was. It was the robot. What happened was the Kanasi, which was sort of glowing with this electricity, which had been set up by Kaz, sort of charging it up. You folks kept pumping up the robot with ever more electricity. I think Aramis hit him with some electricity as well. And so there was a certain point where it just could not contain the amount of electricity it had, so it kind of blew up because it overloaded, essentially, is what happened.
Awesome. So I guess what I'm wondering is, is the leather tunic still in reasonably not riddled with bullets good shape? And 2, could a cat fit inside of it?
The answer to the first question is it's not in great shape. When you tore apart this guy, you kind of definitionally tore up his armor. Maybe you could repair it. As to whether a cat could fit in it, not easily. He had some significant bulk. I really don't want to make him the floating Duke from the Dune film, but the sort of version of it, but he had some bulk on him, which I don't think would necessarily fit in a sleep well. However, you could modify it, and you could certainly take parts of it, like parts of like the leather armor, and kind of fasten it to whatever parts of your armor or something like that to kind of toughen it if you wish. So you could do that. I don't think you could fit into it as a whole though.
Okay. And then, whatever's left of the robot, could something be sort of like put together so that, say, so one of these giants that I'm standing next to could maybe dress in it and maybe impersonate the robot?
The robot is in a lot of little pieces.
Okay.
You could do that if you want to take a couple of days to reassemble the Legos from all over the ground. It's pretty, it blew up. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
So,
conceivable, but you don't know how much longer Jarva can hold the guards with his song and dance routine.
So I turn to the others and say, Ibis is desperately sick. He seems to have contracted a virus from me that I only pass on to people like him. What is he? Like, is he a human? I don't know what he is.
He was actually Yeah, he was a Martenka specialist.
What?
So he had essentially human, but there's some differences in kind of there's some differences in body structure, but he would seem like a human mostly from the outside.
Okay. Yeah, since we don't have any humans
Yes,
aboard.
2 stomachs.
Right. There you go. He has his liver is his pancreas, but otherwise identical. No.
Right. Well, not anymore because he's caught the kill liver pancreas disease.
Apparently,
And so-
yes.
Right. And so we are keeping him on board to treat him. And luckily, I am a doctor, so I can treat him here. Unlike this rough and tumble place that hardly has a medical establishment to speak of.
So, but then do we just leave with him on the ship? We're like, hey, he's caught a disease. Oh, we're going to take him to a specialist institute in Pelseros to get treatment.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. We'll take him to wherever we're going, dump him in space somewhere. But in the meantime, we'll have lots of excuses to go through his stuff.
So
I guess the question becomes, who are we trying to convince? Because I don't know who knows him that would miss him.
Right. So this is where Jarva, because let's actually move you all to the bridge here, because this is where I'm going to assume you folks are. So I'm just moving you up to here. Okay. Make sure I'm moving the right people. Okay, there. There. Okay. As you're sort of talking to the various folks that are here, Jarva has been sort of, routinely cutting in and out of communications. He's sitting on the bridge in the captain's chair to sort of chat with all of them as you're having this discussion behind him. And he sort of barks a couple of other commands into the microphone, and then he kind of turns around to all of you, and you can see he's kind of sweating a little bit, and he says, "Listen, I know you think that it's going to be fine, that we can just tell people that Ibis is going with us and we're going to go check things out on some other station. But you realize that they're not going to let you out of here. They're not even going to release the maglocks holding this ship in place with that kind of a story. They've already wanted to know why they haven't seen him up to this point, and the only reason it's worked is because the people here are so incompetent and confused without their leadership structure that it's taking forever for the bureaucracy to find out. But they will find out, and when the shadow technocracy finds out, it's not going to be pretty unless we come up with a better answer than this. Not that he points at you, Sleepwell, he says, not that I'm complaining about the overall idea, but we need something better than just, he's really sick, we'll take him, see you later."
do we know whether anybody else has any information or has any awareness that the now I'm remembering the Kanasi were on the ship, or was this crime lieutenant the only one that we figured knew?
You have to assume, I mean, you don't know for sure, but you have to assume that the shadow technocracy writ large knows about this shipment. But how much of it was under local control in terms of like, okay, great, you have the shipment, tell us what happens when it gets there, or how much it's like networked, you don't know. You know that the shadow technocracy is this, again, mafia group that has some presence, in different places, but has already sort of shown itself to be more networked than you thought. So you don't really know what their, overall capabilities would be, but you have to assume they at least know that this was going to be coming to this place eventually. So.
Aramis kind of leans forward, inserting himself finally into the conversation, and says, maybe we use the Kanasi as our excuse. We were making the deal. This gentleman came on board. He decided to activate the Kanasi without us knowing and got himself killed. We had to take out, the Kanasi just to deal with the situation.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get a reward. I don't know. Pay for some extra repairs.
But
Get on the good side with these shadow guys, whatever they're calling themselves these days.
Bless you.
Bless you.
I like this idea.
Yeah, the shadow technocracy people are after us. Yeah, I like this idea too. That means we would be, we could effectively replace him. Do we want to do that? I don't know what that would entail, or if it's even possible.
What do our new friends think about this idea?
So they're listening. And Jarva, when you say the idea, Kaz, when you say the thing about let's replace them, Jarva says, "Wait a minute. You mean you want to replace him in the hierarchy, like join the shadow technocracy?"
I mean, I feel like that's not a wise decision based on your tone, and perhaps you could tell us why.
Well played,
he says,
Cosmo.
my poker face is terrible. No, he says, well, no, I mean, I admire the confidence of it, but I mean, look, the shadow technocracy for a long time was just a low-level crime group, right? You know, you don't want to run afoul of them when their bruisers look at you the wrong way when you're in a dark part of Pelsaros. But since things have changed and they've started to appear in more places and get more ambitious, now something has happened. And Vass, who is, remember the bartender, who was with him, kind of puts a hand on his shoulder and she says, it's more than that, Jarva. And he kind of looks up at her and shrugs and she says, it's also funding. Someone has got to be bankrolling them. They've got more money than they ever had before, and it didn't just happen from shaking down people walking out of cantinas. Wherever they've got their money from, that is the threat that you have to face. And Tezora sort of says, but listen, what could be a better idea than actually getting in on this? Do you realize the kind of money that we have left on the table simply by trying to do things the right way? How long did we spend on that moon, Jarva, just waiting around for something to happen? And he sort of looks and says, first of all, it wasn't waiting for something to happen. I had people looking for the right time to strike. And it arrived. And he kind of holds his own arms wide to indicate all of you. And he says, secondly, they'd be getting involved in a very different kind of thing. And so Tezora turns back and says, but wait. Petra, do you mean that you want this group to become, criminals along with them, or are you just pretending to be criminals?
We're not going to become criminals. Why do you think we would become criminals? This is where your mind goes immediately.
There's no money in
This
it,
is
though.
what's wrong with you.
But there's so much money, so many credits. So many credits.
You
Think
are
of the
so
credits.
fucking corrupt. It is just
She kind of sighs heavily, and Jarva chuckles a little bit and says, yes. Well, I'm not going to tell you. It's not far from me to judge what you all choose to do. You could choose to join this syndicate. You'd have to explain why you decided to steal and destroy some of their property. Or you could try to fight them from the inside. At the very least, you could try to survive long enough to find out why they're after you. I think it's up to you, however you play it. It's risky, but you've already proven that you're risky as it is. From what Tezora tells me, Risk is Petra's middle name. And Tezora smiles at you, grins unconvincingly.
So,
I'm not going to tell you hers.
Ibis was what was his title in the shadow technocracy again?
He was, you don't know if there's an official, rank, but he was a lieutenant, so he's basically the local commander here. In charge of, governor's too strong, but, the local coordinator for this base.
So I ask Jarva, how big do you reckon the shadow technocracy is? Are we dealing with 100 people, 1,000 people? Or does their actual size not matter?
He says, the problem is I don't know. As much as I tried to look on this base, I would assume that there were a number of people here. There's a few thousand people down here on this base. Of that number, how many of those were shadow technocracy? 50? 20? 100? And the problem is that's the universe-wide. If it's true, and he kind of glances up at Voss and says, if it's true that they've got more funding, then they could be very broad indeed. In a way, the Silrain Arc has been waiting for a long time for a criminal organization to try to unite all the others. If you ever had someone with enough money to do it, you're talking about a serious threat to the civilized people here. The governments aren't organized enough to be able to stop this yet, and they're too busy fighting each other to worry about a couple of petty criminals. Unless the petty criminals aren't so petty.
Well, guys, we could A, join them and then dismantle it from the inside. B, say, hey, we just killed your lieutenant on this moon. Don't mess with us. Peace. Or 3, act like he's still alive and this never happened.
Jarvan nods and says, that's about right.
What do you guys think? I would incline towards saying, hey, guess what? We just met the commander of one of your commanders, and guess what happened to him? And so that means don't mess with us. But I don't know how big they are. I don't know if that will actually scare them, or if they'll just be like, oh, okay, let's spend about 2 billion credits just to eradicate them. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Hey, Kaz, how many bullies have you ever met?
None long enough to still, be alive after my bounty is paid.
Okay.
So, I couldn't tell you.
Aramis is just shaking his head at the idea of actually, trying to sort of bluff our way through this and just kind of walk away scot-free. If they've got money, he says, coming in, we're going to be on the run for the rest of our lives. If they really piss at us, they're gonna want us. And telling them that we just killed one of their lieutenants is only to piss them off, and cause us a hell of a, he just kind of trails off and he says, we either run, and we run really hard, or we take them head on from the inside. We are not going to intimidate them.
I agree. I think probably the first one, although it's risky, is our best bet. I don't think we can make them back down. I don't think we can intimidate them. I think they'll smash us.
I don't think they're that organized. Criminal organizations are always unstable because the lieutenant always wants to be at the top. They're constantly in flux with people trying to fight each other to grab that golden ring at the top. So all we need to do is just make sure that we have destabilized things enough so that they don't know who we are, but we know who they are.
I like the sound of that, but I don't know how we would make it happen.
Well, so right now, there are a bunch of guards who won't release the mag locks, right? But if we pretend like we're the new bosses in charge, then they'll release the mag locks because they're just ready to follow orders. What all we have to do is just sort of like take what is ours and then not be evil bastards. We can just do our thing and then get moving, and before anybody knows anything, we can be out of here. Look, this is, a syndicate, but a syndicate is always this unstable system of people fighting for power, and all we need to do right now is get out of here, because we're not going to be able to clean out a whole syndicate, from where we are right now. All we need to do is survive. So let's survive.
I feel constrained to mention, Specchio says, as much as I'd like to see this become a big espionage mission, the last time this group tried to pull off a big deception, Aramis ended up shooting law enforcement in their own barracks and having to fake a crazy space disease. These are true facts, Specchio. Right. But hey, they've leveled since then.
And as people says, or crazy space disease.
Crazy space disease. They've learned since then.
That episode.
Aramis looks over to Sleeple and he says, "So, I'm not doubting what you're saying, but what's to say that one of those grunts, those guards that are on the front lines, isn't going to smell the vacuum left by the lieutenant and convince all of his buddies that he's the new lieutenant?"
No, that'll happen eventually, but we'll be long gone by then. All
We still have to get our ship released though, right?
Oh yeah, but
Okay.
but right now, all we have to do is use the vacuum and then get out of here. That's what I'm saying. So right now there is a vacuum, and nobody's going to have the courage to stand up to us. Not if we present a united front. 7 of us, highly armed, with their leader missing. I think we've got this. All we have to do is just fake our way through and then get out.
Okay, I got a question about the moon or the asteroid or whatever that we're on, this little community.
All right.
Do we have any insight as to how big Ibis's organization is locally?
Well, so Jarva had mentioned that he doesn't, it was hard for him to get a real read on it, but it's not enormous. I mean, like, from everything he was able to tell. The problem is some of the guards here are probably just mercenaries hired by the Shadow Technocracy, and they don't even know who's bankrolling them, basically. So how many people are actual hardcore ST people? It's hard to tell, but it can't be enormous. Because the impression you get is that Ibis had sort of like, you know, from what Jarva knew, Ibis kind of had delusions of grandeur. He obviously didn't know the inner workings of it, but there was always this sense that he was always like setting up for the big play, you know, and get the hell off of this asteroid. This is not, you know, this is not the center of the universe.
Right, but is there like a ballpark that we can get just an idea? I'm not interested about the different factions involved in between. I'm more interested in the ballpark of how big of a force we're actually facing.
Right.
We wanted to shoot our way out of this.
Yeah, he says, so Jarvis says, a lot of that really depends on how much you think the guards will go with them. If they were to just take them yourself, I don't know. There might be 10, 15 hardcore ST people that you'd have to deal with. But if you've got the guards on your side, well, I don't care how good the technocracy is, all those guards have rifles and weapons too. If you get some of the guards split, you could be facing 25, 30. And of course, if they all go with the Shadow Technocracy, then you got the entire group, and that could be 100 or more that you're dealing with. It really depends on how many of the guards you can convince and how much you can keep the Shadow Technocracy people off balance. And the problem there is, I don't know how many people are Shadow Technocracy. The only one I knew for sure was Ibis, and, well, you've managed to deal with him.
But maybe he had to know. So that code, again, and, you know, just kind of like points at that data page, that could be good too. If we can just get in there and see what he has on file, see who he knows or whatever, that's what we can use to really manipulate the situation.
One problem with that, they are going to be watching, presumably, whoever's left is going to be watching that place like a hawk, or like a drone, I suppose. They're going to be watching it as much as they can. If you can figure out a way to get into that shop where you met him in the first place, yeah, you could find something useful.
So why exactly is our ship under lockdown at the moment? Why aren't they letting us leave?
Quarantine.
Right. And Jarva, you know, basically, and Jarva says, up to this point, the only reason that I haven't gotten them boarding the ship is that I've got half of them believing that the other half have documents and forms that they haven't filled out. But eventually, they're going to figure out that no such document or forms ever existed, and they're going to come on this ship come hell or high water, unless we can convince them that there's a reason they shouldn't be on this ship. They don't need to board it for the first place, or it's dangerous for them to do so.
So when we originally landed, I was a bit spaced out. So we told them that there was a reason that the ship was quarantined. Didn't we do that before?
It worked.
Originally, but it will only work for so long, especially now once they find out that Ibis actually went on board this ship.
Okay. And only some of the guards that work here are truly under Ibis's influence, supposedly.
I would guess probably fewer than half. Most of them are probably mercenaries hired from the outside.
but all of them are associated with the shadow technocracy in some way, shape, or form.
Well, they're on their payroll, but that doesn't mean they know who's sending them their credits. Most of them would work for anybody who'd pay them, including you, by the way.
But Ibis is, every guard here knows Ibis and is possible.
Because he was willing to pay them. But if Ibis is not there, perhaps a new Ibis could emerge.
All right.
Why don't we just bribe the person at flight control or ground control and just be on our way with this maglock?
That sounds fine to me, but I think then it leaves the question of, we've decided that we want to try to infiltrate ST. So
wait, we decided that?
I mean,
that's the thing. It's not clear to me.
I mean, you guys, Aramis and Petra, you guys were down, so sleep well. I mean, what do you think?
I just want to help people. I don't necessarily want to go around infiltrating espionage organizations. Like,
neither do I, but as Aramis put it, if we just run away from them, or I mean, I liked your idea of making it seem like Ibis was sick, or coming up with a reason why he's gone, but that doesn't mean that the shadow technocracy still won't look for him, and there won't be a power vacuum, and we still won't be chased. He was searching for us specifically.
Right. So what we need to really do is make it seem like he got us and he killed us. I mean, that was a pretty dicey fight. We could have all died. Is there some way that we can spread the disinformation that we didn't make it?
Then supposedly he leaves on our ship,
Yeah.
or someone else does.
Or someone else. He was looking for a way off the ship, or off this rock, right?
Okay. Well,
did Ibis have any trusted lieutenants? We look over to, I think, Jarva is it who it is.
Okay.
Did he have any trusted, any trusted, well, he was a lieutenant. Did he have any trusted sergeants or any confidants locally that he would take with him if he was to bug out very quickly?
He had a trusted robot, and he kind of chuckles, and he said, he sort of looks at a couple of like springs that are still trailing on the ground from like as you walked into the bridge. They kind of fell off of the suits of one of maybe Kaz as you were walking in here. And he says, I think he trusted only the machines that he made himself, which isn't the worst idea when you're running something, when you're involved with the shadow technocracy maybe. But no, I don't think he trusted a lot of other things. And he looks at Tizora and he says, well, you supposedly infiltrated them for a while. And Tizora shrugs and she says, are you kidding me? It was impossible to get any information from any of them. All I knew was that they were always looking for the next big score, and that they were very unwilling to tell anyone else what that score was actually going to be until after it happened. I don't know. I don't think they ever really took me into their confidence all that much. I don't even know why I'm on that shipping manifest, really, unless they thought that I was going to be the one they could blame if something went wrong with it.
So here's an idea, just to throw out there. If we are going to try to make them think that we're dead, which I think would solve our problems for now, at least. I mean, if we're all going to keep running around as a band of whatever we are, inevitably people will hear about us again, but hopefully they'll be far enough away that it doesn't matter. Anyway, I've been messing with my hunter's rig, and I could possibly disguise myself as either him or the robot. Probably the robot would be a better choice, since I'm the only one among us that's actually close to its height. But I could do it.
Wait a second.
And Jarva kind of looks at you with his eye, like raises an eyebrow, doesn't say anything.
What if Sleepwell gets the robot working as best as he possibly can? I'm sure you can do it, kid, right? You got this.
You're just looking at a pile of like springs and gears on the ground. Like,
You can. I mean, there's got to be something around here we can actually, as long as it gives the semblance of that. And then maybe, Kaz, you walk off the ship with the robot,
Well, the thing is he never walked. He was floating on a disc. That's a hard illusion to do. Now that I think about it,
You can
Oh,
sit
we
on
have
the.
the disc.
We have the disc. You can sit on it.
How tall was Ibis without his legs?
Oh gosh, without the disc.
Probably
I mean,
good 2 or 3
If he
feet,
was
right?
if he was just
Yeah.
plopped on the floor.
yeah, he would have been. Yeah, he probably would have been 2.5, 3 feet. I mean, he was. If he had his legs, he probably would have been closer to like 5'9". You know, it was not a huge guy, 5'8".
So-
You know.
Problem is I'm almost 8 feet tall. My illusion can only make me about a foot shorter. So the
Are
robot,
your legs removable?
theoretically,
Sorry.
Sleepo being a
I mean,
doctor is like,
I can
"And you
I
have
can
your
actually
legs
live
off?"
I can actually live comfortably outside of this suit at any point. It's just my energy does not mix well with other people's energy, so I'm protecting you guys. That's all.
Grateful for that, but if we could kick off those legs, you could float on that disc.
I've never tried that before. Oh,
Sleepwell is just sort of like tapping his head too. He's just brainstorming. It's like, and this is a little bit of an out of character question, Greg.
Yeah.
When Sleepwell walked in on Ibis, somebody else was very angry with him. Do you remember the person's name that that angry exchange that they were having?
Yes. I'm trying to remember if it was Voss. I don't think it was Voss, actually. Yes, I do. And I remember that I think it was an Eldori, if I'm not mistaken, who was sort of yelling at him, was saying that basically he had, swindled her and all that kind of stuff. But you never got a name, and you never found out details about why that was the case. But presumably that person is somewhere on the base. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I thought there was a name. I thought I remembered them having exchanges where names were said.
It's
so.
you know what, and it is conceivable that there is, and I've forgotten the name. That's quite possible, but I don't. It certainly did not make a big impression on you, though. I don't think. At least that's my guess. I'll see if I can track down these notes, but Sleepwell, race is a Volna, and class is engineer.
So friends, what do you think? I could most easily disguise myself as the robot. I'm not too keen about cutting my legs off. It's possible, I suppose.
It would
We
be
could-
an engineering feat. We'd put them right back on. Easier than reassembling that thing, that's for sure.
To be honest, I haven't messed with my suit much since I got it, and the only thing that I've done is added to it. And I kind of hold up my arms where I have the sniper rifle attachment and the arm pistol. But maybe we could use some of Tesora's expertise. Didn't you say, Tesora, that weren't we just talking about that you have infiltrated them at one point? Do you have any abilities?
She says, she smiles, that big grin, and says, "Why, many abilities. And Petra, of course, knows some of them. I have proven that I can get into situations and get out of them again." And Jarva kind of says, all right, Tesora. I think he actually meant useful abilities here. And she sort of like frowns and says, "All my abilities are useful." And she says, "But yes, I mean, I know some of the local guards. I was able to convince them a little bit. I have the ability to sort of, blend in when I need to." And she says, as far as whether they would, trust me enough or respect me enough to do anything else, I don't know. But I do know that Red Lear has hosted us for 38 viewers. What's up, Red Lear? Welcome in. Hey.
Thank you,
Man, Red Lear is a Star Citizen streamer, is very kind to me always. Thank you so much, Red Lear. Thanks for the host, man. I appreciate it. But yes, so she basically seems very, very confident. Jarva and Voss seem less confident of her. But she seems very confident that she would be able to, put in a good word for all of you for a little while.
Whoa. Oh, I
So,
said that. I'm looking at that spell, and then I said, as cause, whoa. What's that spell?
So Aramis is going to perform a little feat. and I'm if you want me to use talent points on this, I'm more than welcome. I'm more than happy to. But Aramis is going to change his appearance to look vaguely like Ibis.
Okay.
But just like facial features, using the alter form talent that I just posted in chat.
Okay.
On the dice window.
Yep. You assume a different form. Change appearance you're talking about?
Yep, the change appearance aspect of that.
Decide what you look like, including your height, weight, facial features, sound of your voice, hair length, coloration, distinguish. It makes yourself appear as another species, can appear as a creature of a different size, and your basic shape stays the same. Now, if you're bipedal, you can't use this power to become quadrupedal, for instance. So I mean, this is fine. The question is going to be whether you can.
What did Ibis's like? What does his lower half actually look like? Is he just like a Lego? Like
he's like the top half of
Nice.
Darth Maul, right? Yeah. So that's actually interesting because you had not talked so much. You searched his body, but you hadn't really talked about like kind of finding in more detail. So when you actually look, you see that he does indeed have sort of he had sort of essentially, without getting too graphic about it, stumps basically that had these little depressions in the flying disc that he would actually be on to use. So it's not that the disc was part of him; it was something that he literally could ride. But what's not clear is that the way that stumps appear is that they were sort of surgically, it looks as if it wasn't like a genetic problem from birth. It looks as if there was some level of perhaps trauma that created this. Now, Sleepwell would need to do kind of frankly, sort of an autopsy to find out more, which would be fairly in-depth. But it seems as if this was some kind of like later trauma that led him to, have his legs cut off from as high up as he is. And normally, had this been, 100 years ago, he would have died from injuries like this. But technology has advanced to the point where now, given enough money, you can actually come up with a way to survive this. And this would have taken a lot of money to survive some level of trauma like this and be functional. Because remember that he actually moved pretty well on that board, actually. So.
And at what point in his legs does he no longer have legs?
It's about like maybe below the waist, maybe like halfway down to the knee.
Okay.
Where the knee would have been. So.
Can you describe to us what the disc actually looks like, where his legs actually fit into?
Yeah, so it was basically there were these sort of depressions in the disc. The disc itself is fairly thin, actually, sort of surprisingly thin. And at first you think that there's no mechanism, but you actually are able to, Sleepwell discovers that around the outside of it, there is this unusual mechanism where essentially what it looks like is that the engine, such as it is basically positioned around the outside of this disc. It's clearly partially powered by Sorium. This definitely feels Esper connected or charged in some way, because there's not nearly enough of a mechanism to do all of this mechanically. So it looks, as best as Sleepwell can figure out, as if it was some combination of mechanical, like, stuff that was sort of put around the outside of the disc, which is all still there. The disc is in fairly good shape, actually. And then the depressions into which the legs fit. And the disc itself is maybe, 4 feet in diameter, maybe, something like that. So it's a decent sized disc, but it's not the size of his body if he stretched out a normal person's body if they stretched out all the way. And then the other part of it would be something that he infused either with some kind of Esper talent or something like that, because there are no obvious magnets on it or anything that would any anti-grav things that would seem to work. So it seems like this had to be a combination of both mechanical stuff and some kind of Esper power.
So, Aramis, maybe you could use that Esper power of yours to make yourself super short, and I guess you still have to have legs, but maybe we could disguise your legs.
I'm thinking that if we can modify this disc. Add a little space for my legs and maybe some whiskey. We should be able to at least. No. I want a full-on like tank where I've got a sippy, tube or whatever. Let's just
have that in the first place. You'd think he's that kind of guy anyway. Just have a little coaster on the side of it. He could have a separate disc for cups.
Right. Exactly.
Anyway.
Right.
Sorry.
Place for a propane tank.
And we disguise you as the robot.
Yeah.
This sounds doable. And so he turns back to sleep well. So, kid, you think you can do that?
Let's have a look. So I head on over to Senor Floating Disc and take a look and see what I can see.
Okay.
I'll go and I'm helping him.
Okay. While you're doing that, just a quick note: Aramis and Petra, Aramis, are you preparing for your close-up, Mr. DeMille? Like, what are you preparing for as this is all happening, or are you preparing for the appearing as this character, or what? And also, then I'm going to ask what Petra's doing.
So I think for Aramis, what he would do is try to get as much information from Jarva, and I believe it's Spendra.
No.
Sorry.
Voss and then Tazora. Spindra is the one that you presumably are not big fans of, who abandoned ship, literally.
On the Tangle.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, just trying to get as much information about being Ibis or being the shop owner, or just trying to figure out just any more information that I would be able to gather from them based on conversation or maybe local newsnet or that kind of thing. Just basically, it's not preparing the physical. It's not being Lon Chaney and disappearing into the character just yet, so much as it is like method acting, very Brando or Pacino or whatever, that was just like studying the everything about this particular guy that I would need to know to be able to inhabit that character.
Okay, I like it. All right, Petra, what about you? What would you like to do?
I am bickering with Tesora.
Okay. And I will come back to that bickering in a minute. Okay, Sleepwell and Kaz. So when you go over to basically take a look at this disc, as I mentioned, the disc itself seems to be in pretty good shape. But I'm going to ask Sleepwell to make a mechanics check for me, please. And Kaz, if you tell me how you're assisting, we'll see whether or not what the mechanical benefit of that will be. Because you can't just be like, I will also look intently at the disc, Oh, did we lose Zach? Zach is frozen.
I know.
Internet is bugging out. Okay. Because I was like, he seems very fired up about... Okay. Yeah, he's frozen.
Seems like Zoom's having a little bit of a problem tonight.
It seems like that. Well, I could, if I needed to, restart. Although, it's okay for... Yours is... Actually, everyone seems to be okay at the moment instead of Zach. So I'm not sure whether Zach should maybe leave and come back. Maybe? Yeah, Kaz is definitely not live at the moment. So Zach, maybe... Come back. Everyone. Okay. I'm gonna have see if Zach can leave and come back. No. He's talking to us in Zoom. He's frozen. Okay, this is gonna foul up the windows, so everyone will have to bear with me. Just as soon as he comes back, we'll talk about what Sleepwell is doing. Because I'm gonna have you make a mechanics check, but I don't want you to do that before I know what he can do to assist you.
Right.
One thing that I should note, though, is that it is remarkably thin. It's some kind of odd metal, too. You're not necessarily sure that you're familiar with this kind of metal. It seems to be sort of a composite of several different metals, actually.
And then while that's happening, too, I can't quite remember if we've actually looked at Ibis's belongings and really searched him thoroughly for everything that might be useful. Have we done that?
I think you did now, yeah, because you got the data chip, the data pad, first of all, and then the data chip that had the access code on it. And that seemed to be all the stuff that he had on him. The only other thing is the minigun, which is frankly kind of, it was part of his, it seems like it was almost part of his body. It definitely feels like it basically was designed to slot into something. In fact, there is one thing you notice on the disc is that there's an extra little depression. So there's the depressions for the legs, or what's left of the legs. And then there's this extra sort of depression, which is where the mini gun was sort of placed, like where you would kind of balance it, essentially. And it looks as if there might almost have been some kind of a power, like electrical power, that was sort of wirelessly transmitted from somewhere through the disc into the minigun to kind of fire it up. Because the minigun doesn't really seem to have any other obvious power source or mechanism. You can't just take it off and use it separately.
Right, it's not just ready to fire
right
now. But on that data pad, I don't know if we've done a thorough review of what's on there, but I'd like to while we're waiting here.
Okay. So one of the things that you notice on the data pad, and again, folks, I know that the windows are off. I just don't want to fix them because the minute I do that, he will show back up and then I'll have to fix it again. The data pad basically just has references to incoming shipments, and most of them are in the distant, or not the distant past, but from several months ago. But there was one outstanding shipment that was listed on this data pad, which kept making reference to the cargo, and something about the cargo, and then there's also reference to the boss, which is a little weird because this is, his data pad entry. But he makes reference to the boss, and it's not clear where the boss is. Could be off planet because just some of the diary entries, some of the journal entries that you're reading don't seem to connect to that. So yeah.
Okey-doke.
So that's what we find out about that. All right, let me start. I guess I'll capture the windows, because whenever I do this, that's immediately causes the person to return. So I will do that, knowing that from a distance. All right, let's move this down here. Okay, just give me a second whilst I get everyone back in order.
We just got a message from Zach saying he was going to restart his internet.
Okay. All right, so he's going to reset the internet. Okay, cool. All right. So, so let's, let me see. Let me jump back over then to talk to Petra before we go back and do your, the rest of your thing then. So, Petra, as you are sort of talking with Tezora, she, this kind of go back and forth with her about what she's been doing and why she's been doing it and why she doesn't ever get herself in order and all that stuff. And at one point, as she's going on and sort of talking about different things, she sort of drops her voice a little bit, and she says, have you... And she kind of says, look, all of this aside, how have you been feeling?
What do you mean, how have I been feeling?
She says, well, has everything been normal around you?
Well, you remember that elbow that I broke because you got us going down that slope at high speed? That still hurts sometimes.
And she sighs and she says, yes, but I'm not talking about that. I mean, did you ever notice anything weird around you?
So, like ships talking to me, perhaps.
And she
would that fit in
her
weird?
Eyes widen, and she's like, maybe.
Yeah, what would you know about that, Tesora? Would there be some reason that ships would be talking to me?
And she kind of shrugs and she says, I mean, what do I know? I'm just the one who gets you in trouble, right?
This is not the time to get snippy, but I certainly can see where you might want to. But I would really like to know what's going on, Tesora, and I think you owe me that much.
And she says, all right, so you know that you know that I... Okay, do you remember how the time we first met? You remember that first time?
Mm-hmm.
And she says, and how we just sort of ran into each other and we're having this pleasant conversation, and, you know, then we start talking about things we can do, and then I give you this idea about all this life of adventure and how exciting it's going to be for you, and I opened up so many vistas for you to explore that you would never have seen otherwise, that you would... And she's like, you know, going on about this, and she says, that wasn't the first time that I saw you.
So what would have been was it the second time you'd seen me?
She said, not exactly.
I'm getting the impression that maybe you had seen me multiple times, and I don't remember it for some reason. So I'm dying to find out what this is, Tesora. How did this work out?
She says, well... And she kind of looks around, you know, uncomfortably. And you notice that Jarva, who's been talking to Aramis, is not really paying attention. But Voss is, like, staring. Like, just directly at Tesora. And Tesora is like, what, Voss? And Voss says, nothing. I just love seeing when you're struggling to tell someone the truth for once. And Tesora's like, shut up. Just a bartender. She kind of looks over her shoulder a couple times, and, you know, Voss kind of chuckles and then turns away. And Tesora says, all right, we should talk about this privately.
Okay.
I have returned.
And
Yay!
so if given the chance, if you wish to, she would want to go to some other place in the ship to kind of talk with you about this. Do you want to do that or not?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I will. I'm very curious about what's going on.
Okay. So she is sort of, you know, tells you, well, you know, lead the way. I never was served on this ship. And so you can decide if you want to take her, like, to the... You may remember there's, like, a galley, or you could, you know, show her the spaces where you destroyed Kanasi. Like,
I was just thinking a space free of Kanasi fluid.
Okay.
What I was going to shoot for.
We're gonna look for the Kanasi free zone.
Kanasi free zone.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't think we killed anything in the galley that I can remember.
Okay, so I'm
Might
gonna
be
have you
wrong.
go over to the galley, and I'm gonna cut back to Kaz and Sleepwell in just a second. Aramis, one thing that I would like you to do as we're in the middle of this, and I'm recapturing windows at the same time, so everybody bear with me. But one thing I would like you to do is I'm going to ask you to make for me... I'm going to ask you actually to make a performance check. This is a little bit inverse from the way it normally works, but what I want you to do in making this check is to see how well you were picking up on the clues that Jarva is giving you. Because basically the way Jarva describes it is that Ibis was this guy who always wanted to play up his badassery, and how, you know, he was a guy you didn't want to mess with, and how he was this amazing, you know, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is that, according to Jarva anyway, he felt that he was someone who was very afraid of the people around him, and that he never really could sort of trust that he was coming across the right way. So he said, to really play it out, you got to have bluster, but also insecurity. So I'm going to ask you then to make this performance check to see how much of this you pick up. And I'll also give you one little extra on that. If you can tell me what particular aspects of that I just told you you're going to focus on, we'll see if that affects your bonuses on this check.
Oh, Aramis is definitely going to focus on the lack of self-confidence, on the elements of this that play up the character's insecurities, or this particular, you know, individual's insecurities to a T. More than likely, that's going to sell, you know, the performance more than just the you know, the blusteriness. Bravado only gets you so far.
I agree. Facial expressions and movements, or more phraseology and voice tics and things like that?
phraseology and voice text.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a +2 to this check. Now, chat, I will let you know that inspiration is available to all of you. It has been reset this month. I've already heard from several other sources that are like, make sure that you tell the other campaigns not to use all of them up. So, AME and IAB and E and EG can all argue with each other about who gets what. But anyway, so you can inspire if you wish. You don't have to, but if you wish to inspire his ability to do that. Tom, inspiration is if you support my channel at the tier 2 level, or if you support the Patreon at the $9.99 level or above, you get 1 or 2, depending on the level you support, inspirations that you can use to inspire any of my players in any of my campaigns in a given month. And inspiration gives them advantage on a given check, which is either ability check, saving throw, or attack roll. That is what inspiration is.
All right. So you said a
Specchio
performance
has
check?
inspired Aramis.
Oh wow!
Specchio is ready and has inspired the power of Aramis. Good job,
Thank
Specchio.
you, Specchio. Thank you.
Now, you don't want to mess up, because Specchio the last couple times has done this and, like, it didn't work out, so no pressure here. So he kind of intently bores into you, with his gaze, kind of gives you this, all right, you've got to be confident and blustery, but also insecure. Hey, oh my god, but he double 22'd it. Oh man, the double crit.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Thank you, Specchio. That was amazing.
Wow.
So there's got to be bonus points for that.
The double crit.
He
Suddenly you're just like,
became Ibis. You are now actually.
exactly. I am Marlon Brando.
Aramis was Ibis the whole time. The whole time. No
Exactly.
wonder-
Aramis is actually like, you fools.
No wonder he wants us to infiltrate the shadow technocracy, because he is the shadow technocracy.
I am the shadow technology.
Also, how good of that is a movie? Aramis is Ibis in the Shadow Technocracy. Esper Genesis edition. Oh my god.
Oh man.
The voyaging home. Damn. Nice work. All right. So yeah, you feel like you really sort of tap into it, and honestly, Aramis, one of the reasons you think you tap into it is that there is a part of you that feels some kinship with this guy. Certainly not his evil, certainly not his, like wanting to be the sort of awesome crime boss. But there's something about feeling as if, you sort of can toss things off with a whiskey and a quick-witted quip, and yet still feel like you haven't found what you're looking for. Something about that ties together in you that sort of means that you really kind of invest yourself. So when you kind of imitate that back for Jarva's kind of like, well, I knew that Ashenforged came from many different backgrounds. I didn't know that it would work this well with an Ashenforged currently living. That's good work. That ought to fool the guards for a little while anyway. But I should tell you that if they ever get up close enough to actually see the disc itself, well, I don't know how well the illusion's going to hold in.
We'll make sure that they don't get close. I promise.
He nods and he says, I'm convinced. And Voss is kind of like, and even Jarva is, or actually I shouldn't say that, not Jarva, because not Tizora, because Tizora already left. So, but Jarva and Voss are very impressed. All right, that'll have a mechanical benefit when you go out and deal with the guards. Moving over to Sleepwell and Kaz. So Kaz, Sleepwell was going to basically take a look at this disc, and you were going to be helping him. And the quality of the bonus that you're going to give him depends on what you're telling me you're helping him. Like, you're not just staring at the disc also, I assume.
Yeah,
like,
I know what I'm doing.
Right.
I'm going to convey to Sleepwell any information that I gained, first of all, from, when I'm as a sniper and so on, just scanning things, seeing things through the scope, but more so the fact that when I was taking shots against Ibis, I was aiming for weaknesses in this disc.
Right.
And I successfully disabled it twice.
Right.
So whatever observations that I made in disabling it and shooting it that I noticed as it kind of, like malfunctioned.
I'll buy that. So Sleepwell, make this at a +2 then. So you're going to make this check at a +2, this mechanics check.
Okay, so and I have +4 on it, and I'm proficient at it as well. So that's a total of +6 and proficiency. So that means that advantage, right?
Yeah. the proficiency, no, the proficiency just means you're going to be adding your proficiency bonus to it, but not at advantage.
Oh, okay.
You're getting an additional +2 to the check, but not advantage.
Check. Okay, so that's a total of +8 then.
Which is
Here we
pretty
go.
good.
So you have, so this is a mechanics check,
Yeah, mechanics.
and then sleep well. You normally have a +4 to
So I have
mechanics.
I normally have a +4
Okay.
because it's a wisdom check, and then I'm adding 2 for proficiency and 2 for you.
I think the proficiency is already a part of the mechanics.
Well, so
'Cause
you know how it has the little box that you can check where it says proficient? I've also checked that. So there has to be more than just the +4 I get for being wise.
Oh, so the
Because you were
+4
just
is
taking
just
the
for wisdom.
+4 is just the wisdom bonus, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it is 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go.
Wow, what is with all the 22s? Good grief.
I love you.
My gosh. Yeah, so you actually now see exactly what this is, Sleepwell. As near as you can tell, someone, and I'm going to explain the implications of this in a minute, has been able to essentially take these small, tiny conduits and basically trace them through this strange, I mentioned that the metal is strange of the disc, but there's a similar kind of strange metal that these wires basically loop around the outside of the disc. And as near as you can tell, these conduits are designed to actually carry sorium, the energy of sorium, around the outside of the disc. And they are infused or fired up when they are energized by Esper power of some kind that allows them to basically be infused. The reason this is significant is because you have never seen anything that miniaturized sorium-capable conduits to this level, which means that this is new technology and pricey as all hell. Like, to develop this technology, like, this is not something which looks like someone threw it together on a wing and a prayer. This looks like it was manufactured. But you know for a fact, because you get all the popular mechanics magazines, he said jokingly, you know for a fact that there's not a chance on God's green earth that or in God's green universe, that there had ever been some design like this done before. This looks proprietary and manufactured and expensive. And it's not the only one if it was manufactured.
Right. Well, so I'm going to just quickly convey this to our group, before any modifications, and just say how priceless this thing is going to be. Though not unique, still, far advanced from, anything that's available in the open market. And take input then, especially from Aramis, about what to do with it.
Isn't it damaged somewhat from me shooting it?
A little bit, but not as much as you might think. It actually was disabled through your shots, but actually it doesn't look like the metal was damaged. It looks like you can see some sort of blackened marks where obviously your shot hit it, but it's almost as if you overloaded it or something like that. But it looks like it could be recharged, although at the moment it's just kind of lying on the ground inert. But
Got it. Okay.
sell it. No, sounds good. Sell it on eBay.
Yeah.
Well,
So, and does it look like I know basically how to do things like recharge it and things like that?
Yeah, but there is a problem with that. Or not a problem. It's going to require someone with Esper sensitivity. Fortunately, many of you fit that description. But it's going to require someone using some ability, some talent, that would allow them to infuse it with energy. And if you start asking for, like, would this work, I can give you some, things about, like, this would work. Like, Esper healing energy could theoretically do that. But, electrical attacks could be modified by the Esper wielding character to be able to sort of, infuse it. You don't know whether they're going to get it exactly right. Like, in other words, the thing may not maneuver as naturally as it did for Ibis, but it'll function if people aren't paying too close attention to it. It's like putting kind of the slight, not exactly right gasoline into a car, like the wrong octane. It'll work, but it's the engine's going to kick a bit.
Well, I've got a laser blast.
Could work. You would have to, but the thing is, whoever's doing this must be infusing the disc continually. So you don't just charge it up once and then it's good. The person on it has to be doing it.
Oh, I see. What you're
Oh, like continually
Right.
pumping it with Esper power.
Correct. But and it's sort of, and it looks like, and I should mention this, Sleepo, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I
okay.
should mention, now you actually get a chance to see those depressions that I mentioned where the legs go. It looks like those were also areas where the wires basically gather, sort of circle around, almost like, how do I describe it? Like a burner on an to jump out of game for a minute, electric stove burner that has like the spiral, a coil. That's what we're talking about here. Underneath those, the sort of depressions, there's the coils of metal all around it, as if what it was doing was looping energy into and out of the disc into the person, as if the person completes the circuit with the disc.
Right. Right.
So basically, Ibis was casting some sort of continual Esper something to maintain the disc's floatingness.
Yep.
Okay. So, all right. So if I guess we kind of like move over to Aramis and regroup and say, well, if you're going to get on this thing, then either you or someone else, but it would probably have to be you, is going to have to use your Esper talents to fuel it continually. I'm not sure how Ibis did that, though.
Do we have any indication as to what he was doing at all
With
from
it,
an
you
Esper
mean?
ability? Yeah, by Ibis.
No idea. All what you recognize from him is that he was using his minigun to try to blow you away. But no, there was nothing obvious. Certainly it wasn't something he must have, whether he was consciously or unconsciously doing it, he certainly was not, he wasn't like he was glowing blue or that he was, ultimate power, zap zap. I mean, there was no obvious thing going on the outside, except that the disc was obviously floating without much of a mechanism.
So is there maybe a chance that I could take a look at his legs and perform a medical examination on
Sure.
them?
And by the way, Petra, I have not forgotten your conversation. That's coming. Yes, you can absolutely do that. That you're going to need to do a medicine check for, Sleepwell.
Right. And so also proficient in that, also a wisdom check. That's 6. And so here's the roll.
Yeah, Kaz can't really help with that one.
It's just a 10.
I mean, you know that there was something about sort of at the bottom of his legs. You determined that it's not just flesh that's there anymore. There is some kind of thing at the bottom of his legs, and it's a little disturbing because it almost looks as if the flesh of his leg, what was left of his leg, was melted into this metal. Or to put it another way, it's as if there's a transition from flesh to metal. And I don't mean like riveted, I mean combined. Like the flesh is there and then it gradually gets more metallic, and then it's metal. And then if you were to keep going around the curvature of the stump, on the other side, it's like less metal and then more flesh.
Mm. And so specifically what I'm trying to look for is if there's any sort of thing on him that might have been used to power this. Did he have any sort of power supply or power source on him? None.
Not at least on the outside of his body. Now, if you want to try to cut him open and who knows, he could have something inside him, but definitely not on the outside of his body.
Okay. So I'm relaying all this kind of out loud quickly to let people know that it really just seems like he was using some kind of weird cybernetic, Esper connection in order to power this. I am wondering if I can rig something though, with thorium, to create a kind of battery pack so that it doesn't require Artemis to just constantly, use an Esper power.
You do think this is possible if you can figure out how to make it A, not obviously visible, and B, if he doesn't have to use it for too long, because it's going to take a lot of energy to do this. But yes, it is possible.
So I communicate this to Artemis. I say, if we can put you in some kind of tunic where you could hide a battery pack basically while you're writing on this, maybe we can try to rig something up that would allow you to just hover for a little bit, but you wouldn't have a lot of time on it.
What type of Esper ability do we believe that this is going to work with? Does any Esper ability, or does it have to be something that is a transference of energy?
Specific one, yeah, the latter. Something that involves the transference of energy. It could be, however, possibly healing energy, or it could be, I mean, Sleepwell mentioned laser blast. That could be it. You actually, Aramis, as a melder, are in a better position to be able to have talents of this type that might apply to this. But you would need to be using them in a weird sort of modified way, which again is possible, but it will make the thing kind of more move around rather jerkily as opposed to kind of smoothly.
So I look to Sleepwell and I say, if you can rig something that will take a charge, I can keep this thing charged long enough for Kaz and I to get this worked out, to get these clamps off and get us the hell out of here. But I'm not going to be able to do much else, especially because I'm going to be looking like somebody else and talking like somebody else, and that's a little hard. That's. But if you can figure out a way to keep a charge, I can keep this thing charged at least for a short period of time, probably longer than just a laser blast or something else is going to be able to provide. I can light this puppy up.
Okay.
If are we still going with the possible plan of making the shadow technocracy and the guards think that we all died and that Ibis is the only one left alive and he's going to take our ship for a joyride, right?
That's what.
What if he didn't come out of this escapade unscathed and we make him look injured? And what if the robot's like carrying him and the disc is like disabled or something?
Which it is.
Which it is. And then he's like, get out of my face. I'm in a rush. I got hurt. Get those stupid kids and their dog, you know. We still have Sprocket, by the way.
We do have Sprocket.
You do have Sprocket. Although
So that was
Sprocket
a true
has not
statement.
been. Sprocket has been on the ship. Actually, Sprocket was in the bridge. It was on the bridge, and so Sprocket has been there, sort of lying with his head between his paws.
Does
His metallic, paws, I should say.
Yeah.
I don't think the detail was discussed. Is the disc still floating at least, or
No.
is it
Inert on the ground.
okay?
What do we think? We could, because basically we have to go out there. We make sure that the guards know that we are dead, quote unquote, that he is going to grab some stuff from his shop and then take this ship to another place of the ST's influence or something. Like, I'm going to go deliver this to our other base.
Well, and with that, Aramis would look over to Jarva and say, so is there a bigger, badder place that we would be headed?
And he shrugs and he says, depends on what your pleasure is. You could try to, once you've got your own ship repaired, head back to Peltaveria, where originally you came from, according to what you told me. The problem with, sorry, my voice is not deep enough. The problem with that, of course, is that you're coming back to a place which is big, bright, and well monitored. On the other hand, not going to be as easy for someone to take pot shots at you there with the security corps working there. But it is more likely to call attention to yourself. Or you could try going back to Pelseros. I can promise you from personal experience that in Pelseros, they're not likely to notice you or pay any much attention to you, any more than any other criminal there. On the other hand, if you do get into trouble, you won't have anyone that you can appeal to. There's no higher authority there that anyone cares about. But of course, there is Spindra, our dear friend Spindra. You could go there. Or you could try to head somewhere around here. I suppose there's other moons circling the planet down there, but I don't know much about those, to be honest.
I'm just looking for some place that we can tell them that we're going to head, where we're going to find the shadow technocracy.
From what my understanding, a lot of these mercenaries are low grade. They're not really involved with the company, so they wouldn't even deserve to know where we're going. You know,
If somebody asks, that's all I'm trying to get clear, because we're not going there, and anybody who finds out. In fact, I take that back. No, we're going to tell everybody and their mother. I want the mercenaries' kids to be talking about the fact that their dad had talked to Ibis, and Ibis was going to go to, Theros, right, wherever it is, wherever. I want them to know, because I want that spread far and wide, long enough for us to be able to get the hell off and figure out where we're going next, and have them thinking that he's going to go that direction.
yeah.
So you'll tell them wherever it is you want them to go, and you won't come within 1,000,000 parsecs of it. Is that the idea? He nods and he says, first of all, he says, well, first, thank you, Kooky Canuck. Thank you, Kooky Canuck, for the resub. Really appreciate that, man. Thank you so much, Kooky Canuck. Much appreciated, sir. Welcome. Thank you. So the thing he actually says in game is, well, if you're going to do something like that, the real question is where you want to put down stakes. Do you want to try to figure things out from Pelseros, where you won't get bothered as much, but no one's going to help you if you get in trouble? Or you're going to go to Peltiveria, where you'll have a lot more attention, but then you'll have a lot less chance of someone stabbing you in the back in one of the dark passageways going from cantina to cantina. That choice is up to you, I'd say.
Well, I think one of my goals, friends, is to return to our original ship, the ship that shall not be named at the moment, if you know what I mean, which I think is back where we came from, Pelseros.
So let's tell them we're going to Lauren Ja. I mean, it's a nice place to visit. I mean, hey, the kid wanted to go there last time.
Yes, but
an adventure there.
Didn't we decide not to go there because that has a very, very well-established, good aligned order?
Well, it's the perfect place for the shadow technocracy to have a place, a secret base. Who would ever expect in one of the most difficult freaking places to get into, right? That's where the secret cabal is. They'll have that meeting there. Everybody will be thinking, oh shit, we got to go to Lauren Ja, and we can go back to Pelseros. We can pick up our ship, have a little conversation with a friend of ours who we need to have a conversation with, and then go back to wherever it is we want to go. Personally, I'm voting for Peltiveria, but I got some unfinished business in the temple there.
Specchio, I'm sorry to jump in again. Specchio, it was Peltiveria that Aramis shot up the police barracks, not Pelseros. And Aradinel, thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub to Steve B. Dancer. Thank you, Aradinel. So kind of you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
So welcome into the Arvanauts, Steve, and thank you again, Aradinel. Sorry, Peltiveria is what you're thinking about.
Sure, we could tell them Lauren Ja, I suppose. And then either they'll go there thinking that there's a secret ST base. Wait, yeah, whatever. Thinking, well, the problem is if any people that are actually from the shadow technocracy hear about this, then they'll be like, wait, we don't have a base there. What are they doing? This will
chaos. This is chaos. We're gonna sow chaos, dude.
This is a short-term solution.
Oh yeah, we're screwed long term. We need to buy ourselves some time.
Okay.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I agree with Aramis.
All right.
See, even the kid likes me.
I love the idea that you keep saying, like, oh yeah, long term we've got big problems. This is just the short term. I feel like it just continues to be this. As long as we just
So. We're just continually rebounding off of the last year's short term.
Exactly.
Is this year.
This year's long term. All right, he says, so you're going to tell them that you're going to Lauren Ja. And then in the meantime, you're going to go where? Pelseros?
Yeah, I think so. I want to get
have your you can have your shit back once we get ours repaired.
Yeah.
You guys can hang out at Pelseros.
You guys
have
can
a good time.
Come with us.
Could come with us. We just have to have one little chat. I think everybody here wants to have that little chat. And then we'll be on our merry back to Peltiveria. I mean, I know I'll prefer to drink it, in a more civilized place.
Yeah.
Better selection.
Good work.
Okay,
Right.
so if that is the decision that you folks have made, I'm going to cut over before we actually see how that works out. I'm going to cut over to Petra, who is now in the galley with Tezora. And Tezora, when she comes in, sort of goes over to what looks like one of the sort of replicators, obviously fairly standard, and kind of, pushes a couple of buttons. And there's this, essentially this sort of thing materializes, and it looks like it's some cup of some drink. You can sort of smell it from over here, like a very strong, almost rancid coffee is what it smells like. And she, takes it and drinks a bit and then kind of makes this face and is like, God, they've never figured out how to make actual drinks like this. I don't know how you stand this replicator food. And she kind of settles down in the seat and she says, so... And she kind of looks around and just sort of shrugs and says, so, I told you that I've seen you before, or saw you before we first met.
Yes.
And she looks like extremely uncomfortable. And she says, I don't entirely know why I'm even telling you this. She says, I knew the Dendusi that created you.
When you say the Dendusi that created me, like, how exactly are we defining created there?
Well, Ashen Forged are made in different ways. Some of them are created in a facility, a factory, a lab, sometimes upon a crucible. Right?
Right.
Well, you were special, Petra. Special, I would say.
So, special how? Because you're giving me a lot of mystery and kind of talking around the point, Tezora, and I just want to know what's going on.
The person who made you, the dentist who created you, was a genius and eccentric. And I knew them very well. And when they created you not in one of the normal places. They created you on a crucible itself, in one of the central chambers, in a place that no one had ever been created before, using a new technology to be able to build you. The idea was to mix Sorium with machinery and technology. You were connected to... She kind of winces a little bit. A computer. You were made as an Ashen Forged, but with machine intelligence and memories and ability. I mean, and she sort of like seems kind of like rushes on at this point and says, haven't you ever wondered why you're so good at hitting things?
Wait. Let's go back just a couple seconds here to Sora.
She's now like kind of like rubbing her hands and looking around like, can't believe I'm talking about this.
So when you say I was made with a machine intelligence, could you like maybe unpack that a little for me?
Well, let me see your hammer. And she kind of holds out a hand.
Okay, here.
And she takes the hammer and she says, now, how long have you had this?
quite some time. I don't actually remember exactly when I came by it. It's just been a good hammer.
And she says, "It's more than a good one." And then very suddenly she takes it and swings it directly into your body. Now, you've never had this happen before, but instead of being thrown backwards by it, or like, everything you would expect, like what happens when you hit things with this hammer, instead of that happening, when the hammer hits you, you feel this, essentially what it feels like is an electrical shock. And it sort of goes all through your body, and you have this one moment where there is a flash, and you feel like for just a moment, this is going to sound weird, so I'll just describe it the best way I can, as if you were inside this vast, spiraling network of wires and cables and sort of light that's moving along the cables and wires, just for a moment. And then it vanishes again. And when you can sort of see again, you can see Tezora kind of looking at you, her face kind of this mixture of concern and also kind of annoyance, maybe annoyance at the self. Then she kind of places the hammer, like head down, on the table between the two of you. And she says, "This hammer is the key. This is the key to everything, Petra."
Petra's kind of reeling here because she's not really sure what this means as far as her own being. So she's going to reach forward and take the hammer very slowly and gingerly, kind of looking at Tezora all the while.
Okay.
And say, "What was the name of the Dendus that made me?"
And she says, "What are you going to do when I tell you?"
"I'm not going to play games. Are you going to tell me the name or not?"
And she sort of kind of looks at you and then looks back. His name was Primus. Primis Primus.
And you keep saying was and were as though Primus were no longer with us.
And she stands and looks at you angrily and says, "No, because he was my brother." And then she turns and basically walks out of the room.
And Petra is just going to sit there stupefied, looking after her with her mind just a whirl with the implications of this.
I love it. That gives me a chance to cut back to the bridge. All right. Aramis, sleep well, Kaz. Meanwhile, while awesomeness is going on elsewhere, exactly. Okay. So the three of you have now worked out the plan that you're going to use. Now, Jarva's basically explained to you that he's managed to get the bureaucracy sort of arguing with itself, but that they're going to be, they are coming back basically for an update essentially within the next couple of cycles, in the next couple of hours, and that he does not think that they're going to be able to be sort of dissuaged again. Like, this is going to have to be it. Like, you're going to have to fix it in post, as they say. So, yeah.
So the question is, do we try to create a rigged, like a jury-rigged battery pack, or Kaz, are you gonna carry Aramis like he is your bride across the threshold and take him over into Ibis's lair?
Well, unless we can find a way to consistently power that rift thing. Well, here's the thing. Is I wonder if the guards will be curious if we tell them, as Ibis and the robot, if we say, "Oh, we fought them, they activated the Kanasi, tried to kill us. Now I'm gonna just grab some stuff from my room and then clean up this mess myself. So maybe that could actually be the reason for him to not want anyone to come on the ship, is because this is upper level shadow technocracy business, and he's got it covered.
It's a perfectly good excuse for you to be carrying Ibis if his disc is damaged and needs to be repaired.
Yeah, and then he needs to go back to his. Then we would actually need to repair it. If we went back to his store and that was our excuse, well, maybe we would find something at his store to use
and bring it back to the ship to where it would be repaired, and then we're going to take this little, ship for a joyride.
Don't forget the code. He's got stuff in there.
Yeah, I have that.
So we have a plan. Let's do it.
I think that sounds good. What are the rest of you going to do? What are you going to do, Sleepwell? And I don't assume you're going to come with us.
If there was a way that I could come with you as a captive, as someone he's going to interrogate, shackle me up.
We would probably leave you locked on the ship or something, unless the robot wants to carry both Ibis and you as a shackled prisoner, which I bet it could do. It looked like a pretty beefy thing.
Well, hold on. This kid might be onto something here. What if we convinced one of the guards to go with us and have Sleepwell in custody? That would not only sell the fact that we're Ibis and the robot, and we're going to take care of this, but also, if something goes wrong, we're going to get an indication. Because I guarantee you, they're probably connected. They've got transceivers, two-way, whatever type of two-way communication that they've got going on. That guard's going to know exactly when something goes wrong, and we'll know how much time we actually have at that point.
Having a good day, Aramis. This sounds good to me.
Will somebody please get this on record? This is the second time the kid has freaking talked.
Man, maybe you should lay out the sauce more often.
You've been hiding sauce from us, Aramis? Sauce is
Don't take it so literally,
man.
Jarva rolls his eyes, just like... And
okay.
Voss chuckles.
So, the robot is coming out with Ibis, who is going back to the store to repair his disc. And while the robot comes out, and this is me just, going through the plan with you, my friends. So.
And at this point, by the way, Tazora walks in as she looks very sort of pissed off, basically, and she just kind of walks over, doesn't pay attention to anything, and kind of slumps down in one of the chairs on that's nearby, and just I'm sorry, you're on the bridge, so there's only the one chair. So she just basically slumps down by the wall moodily and kind of looks off, and Jarva kind of looks in her direction and then shrugs and looks back to you. So on you go, Kaz, sorry.
So and then we're also walking out with Sleepwell as the only survivor of this encounter. Is that what we're doing? What about Petra then?
Why don't we hide everybody? This is a smuggler ship after all, and looks over at Jarva. Invite the guards to come on and help us secure our prisoner. That shows them and sells them the fact that these people are dead, or they've been dealt with.
Oh, so Sleepwell is like the last person trapped in a room and he's dying type thing. And we're just go deal with this.
Basically.
But then how do we control what they do with him?
They have to come with us. We're going to interrogate the kid personally in our own little workshop.
Ibis definitely was doing that a lot on this.
Okay.
Kaz, I know it's all of this is a stretch. I mean, based on everything what Jarva's just told me about this guy, this is not going to be easy. But it's better. The only better option that I can think of is if we shoot our way out of this. Do you want to shoot?
Which will happen if we mess it up anyway. So we might as well try.
Exactly. See, You gotta
This
figure
is
out
just a
how to get you inebriated, buddy, and you and I will just be drinking.
This is just like this is just the the big the appetizer to the potential shooting incidents,
There you go.
as usually happens with us. But anyway,
Super,
What
as
about-
Super Fun Time Force Go points out in chat, workshops are prime interrogation areas.
yes.
So
They are.
So what about Petra? And then I look over at Tesora and say, "You look like you just got hit by her hammer or something."
and she kind of sort of looks at you, gives you this kind of sharp look, and then kind of looks back and says, "Not really how it went down, but whatever you need to tell yourself to help you sleep at night, if you do sleep."
So I don't. And thanks.
And Petra's going to wander in looking not particularly happy and also silently sit down and just sort of stare off into space.
Okay.
Okay. You all notice that without even having to make insight checks, and thank you, Erdanel. Yeah, just double checking on the volume because when I updated OBS, I had to adjust levels and stuff. So, yeah, and you notice that Petra and Tesora are relentlessly not looking at each other at the moment. So, yeah.
Well,
What you can comment upon or not, it's up to you. But I mean, just letting you know that's what you notice.
It's kind of like, everything okay here? We're about to put all of our lives on the line. We all right? Yeah.
Yep. Let's get going. No new news here changing my life. Everything's fine. Let's go.
we should talk about it, Petra, but maybe not while we're trying to get off of a moon.
Yes.
So wait, Aramis, what if we modified this a little bit? What if we wanted to keep these prisoners on the ship? So what if you and I walk out as bad robot and friend, and then we say, hey, we have 2 survivors.
Hey, buddy, that's friend and bad robot to you.
We have 2 survivors that are holed up there, and we want you guys to watch them as we go back to our workshop, grab some stuff, and then head back to this ship. And we're going to take them with us, maybe, as collateral for something.
Ransoming.
So
That'd
we're
be valuable.
inviting them on the ship to see the fact that they really are beaten up and stuff.
He looks over. Hermes looks over to Sleephole and says, "You're royalty, right?"
I no, but I played one when I lied to you.
Oh, so that wasn't even true?
Oh, yeah, no. My family is not, we don't really have, I'm not.
No, kid. Well, hold on, kid. Seriously, you're royalty, right?
I mean, yes, I am.
Excellent. I think we have our reason for ransoming.
Where? Oh. Okay. So, sleep well. Maybe you need to look through some meta databases for this, but where are you from?
Oh, I mean, Valna's pretty far away. I can be from there, right? Nobody knows how the Val Society works if you're not Val.
So, we could be ransoming you off. Although I know that I think the last part of this puzzle is if we tell mercenaries that, hey, watch after this extremely valuable person that we want you to watch over. And then we're going to go to our workshop for approximately 30 minutes. And then when we come back, so maybe we have to pay them off a little bit. Or,
I don't think we separate each other. I don't think we separate. Basically, I'm with you. I'll be interrogated. You're going to guard the prisoner because you don't trust these guards. There's no way you trust these guards. Ibis didn't.
Well, and I think the only problem that creates is we don't necessarily have to go back to Ibis's workshop. We could just leave. We could just find an excuse to leave and go without ever leaving there. All of this coming and going is only because we want to go visit his workshop, which I'm not particularly bound to. I don't know. Aramis, what do you think? I feel like sacrificing the trip to his workshop just makes this a whole lot easier.
We don't know what we're missing out on, but I mean, sure. At this point, we clock's ticking, I think. Based on everything that Jarvis told me, clock's ticking.
We've got to get the maglocks off, and I think we have to show Ibis out. So we have to go outside at some point. While we're out, we might as well go to his workshop. There might be information there that might make our lives easier.
So, but if we don't want to separate everyone, then basically we'll just tell the guards then that we want them to bring you guys with us so we can watch you at all times or something. Right. Okay. I think that's the plan then.
It's definitely a plan.
Definitely
I don't know if it's good or not.
Definitely is a plan. Okay. So to summarize it, as I understand it, you are going to have Kaz disguised as the robot and Aramis disguised as Ibis. You will be bringing out Sleepwell from it, from the ship.
And Petra, probably.
And Petra, okay. And Petra, claiming that these are the only two survivors of a terrible attack that that injured Ibis and that a lot of killed his guards, except for the robot, and that he's now going to interrogate Petra and Sleepwell in his own personal workshop location, which you're going to hopefully get access to by using the access code, if the access code even goes to this, in his shop. And then having done that, will basically drop off Ibis's body, like what was left of it, and figure out a way to, how does that then get the maglocks off the ship? I followed all the way up to that point.
Well,
it doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was following what you had all come up with. Good.
Well, okay. We don't need
exactly.
to
As Super Fun Time says, out of all the plans, this definitely is one.
But the magnock will happen because Aramis has specialized in the voice imitation. So he'll get on whatever intercom Ibis has in his workshop and make contact and ask whoever is in charge of maglocks to demaglockify us.
Yes. And I don't think we need to bring Ibis's body out. That just makes it more complicated.
Yeah.
We just hide it.
Yeah.
And Jarva says, takes a look and says, all right, this is all going to go down in about a cycle. If anything you have to do, I do it now on the ship before they show up.
Okay.
Doesn't sound very confident about what we're actually going to end up doing.
He doesn't sound confident about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you get the impression that Jarva basically feels like he's been impressed with what you've been able to do so far, but there are just a bunch of crappy situations that he sees. And there's no great option, but this seems as reasonable an option. He doesn't really have a lot of opportunities anyway, beyond this, since he's now on the ship with you, having killed Ibis. So, assuming you're not doing anything exciting, although please tell me if you are, but assuming you're not.
I just want to make sure that Kaz, at the very least, is going to do his best to hide most of the remains of the red robot, so that maybe it looks like it was injured, but not like the whole thing is on the ship.
Okay.
And then also hiding Ibis's body.
Okay, where are you hiding that?
In that little secret bathroom compartment we found.
All right.
And that one's going to smell the place up.
Well, I mean...
we can always eject it later.
Okay. So you place his body down below, And then Aramis, how long? And I should actually look. How long do the alter appearances and change forms last again?
So it's up to an hour.
Yeah.
And it's a concentration. So
Yep.
Both of them are an hour. Okay.
I mean,
All right.
I could run into some serious snags if I can't concentrate.
Yes. Okay. So after the cycle is up, the hour is up. You hear Jarva basically calling all of you to get back to the bridge. And when you do, he basically explains that he is on the intercom right now with the guards who have returned and are waiting to sort of figure out what happens next. And so he looks at you, Aramis, and Kaz, and Sleepwell, who are all positioned like this, and Petra, and says, "All right, you're on. Make it a good show." And
You guys are going to stay on the ship?
he says, "I don't think they're going to be able to explain our arrival off of the ship. Do you?"
No.
And so he says, "We'll hold down the fort here. You do the best you can out there, and try to stay in contact when you're able to. Also, don't take too long. This thing only is going to last an hour." And so then the intercom goes off. He speaks to a couple of voices on the other side and says, "All right, they're going to be coming through the side hatch. You can meet them out there."
All right. And I mask appearance as the bad robot.
Okay.
And I think I should be pretty accurate to its height because I'm almost 8 feet, and then I can make my mask appearance make me a foot taller or shorter.
Okay.
And then I can change my thinness or fatness as it describes, and change clothing, armor, gear, other belongings, look different until, well, okay. It says you bend particles in the visible spectrum to make yourself, including your clothing, armor, gear, and other belongings. Could I use that to make myself look like the robot?
Yes.
Make like
I would
it
say so.
Okay.
The question will be mostly whether the height differential, but actually the robot was fairly intimidating anyway, so it's probably, as far as it was fairly tall, so it's probably pretty close, I would say. So yes, you could do that. So actually, I wonder if I still have the Maximilian. So you turn yourself into, no, I removed it. No, I didn't. There it is. You turned yourself into that,
Awesome.
And okay, and then Aramis, you do the same thing with Ibis, yes?
With alter form, yeah.
Okay, and then actually let me move that a little bit out of the way. Okay, and then the four of you go over to the side hatch, and when the door opens, I'm not going to place all of them here, but when the door opens, you notice that indeed the bureaucracy has managed to streamline some stuff, because there are at least 25 security guards out there.
Great.
All sort of armed with what looks like laser rifles, and all looking like very determined about something. And one of them, who's in front, steps up and through a sort of a voice, a communicator on his helmet, says, "All right, we've waited long enough. We're going to have to get on board this ship." And then he kind of sees the robot, and he's like, "Wait a minute, what?" And then he sees you, Aramis, as Ibis. He says, "What's going on here, sir?"
So to paint this correctly, we want to look injured and like I am carrying Ibis. Isn't that right, Aramis?
That is correct.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
And then that we have Sleepwell and Petra injured behind us, and like the robot is carrying.
All right, the robot's carrying Ibis, but Ibis is still conscious and speaking. I just want to make sure.
That's
right.
Yeah. And then in the other arm has a chain, I guess, or some. I do have manacles. as cause. Don't know why.
You
Don't
picked him
ask.
up somewhere. I think you may have picked him up on.
I have a set of reinforced restraints and 50 feet of rope cable, so bound up. We're dragging them along. Okay.
All right, so you position them, and so you are still awake and conscious. So, so they basically, again, they're like, what's going on, sir?
Ibis kind of looks at the situation, looks back at the robot. He says, "What the hell do you think is going on? Get 2 guards up here and relieve my robot with these prisoners right here. It was a nasty fight. Now can you clear the way and move these guys back? This ship has been taken over by me. It's mine. Do you hear me? It's mine. It is mine for our employers." Does that make it very clear?
And they all kind of look at each other. And one of them says, "Did you file anything with security, sir?"
Do I look like I had time to file something with security? I was able to get myself back into the arms of my robot and get my robot repaired enough to be able to get me back. Do you see me in my apparatus? My ability, my free motion and ability has been removed. I need to get back to my shop. I need these 2 that, and I points to the chain that the robot is carrying. I need these 2 to come with me. I need you to give me 2 individuals and secure them and bring them along with me while I get back to my workshop, grab my other machine so I can temporarily move around at my own volition so that I can enact repairs, and then I can deliver this thing to our employers.
Make a deception check for me. You're going to be doing this at advantage. This is the benefit of your very careful study.
Damn right it's going to be at advantage. All right.
Damn good.
Ooh.
All right.
Okay.
That's. I was gonna say, channeling Daniel Day-Lewis. You come off that way instead of as Keanu Reeves, and that was good.
Although I was really portraying Keanu Reeves. Let's be completely honest.
You were portraying Keanu Reeves, but with considerably more range. Okay. So they and actually let me.
Let me load up my Keanu Reeves module.
They look at you and they're like, "Whoa." So okay, I'm gonna.
Now listen, guys.
Well,
excellent to each other.
Party on.
Where is Sprocket during all of this?
Sprocket was left back on the bridge with Jarva, but you could bring Sprocket with you if you wish.
Oh, I don't want to bring Sprocket. That would.
Okay. Are you just checking in on his whereabouts?
I just wanted to make sure that we remember.
That our dog is okay.
I feel bad because we keep forgetting.
All right. Okay. No. Sprocket was back on the bridge. He was like, I don't want Sprocket. Here, but okay. So they all kind of look at you, and then one of them's like, they sort of, one steps up, and there's a moment of silence, and you see them sort of, it looks like they're sort of hefting their rifle, and for a moment you're like, oh boy. And then they sort of are like, all right, well, you heard him. All right, get 2 of them up there. Come on. And he sort of yells at, I was going to say, TK421. No, he doesn't do that. He says, 18 and 5, come. And these 2 step forward, and he kind of points up, and these 2 guards bustle up to take you, Petra, and you, Sleepwell, take command of you, kind of looking at you a little bit curiously, but mostly you see that they kind of do a wide berth around the robot and Ibis. They seem to be not wanting to,
I'm while they are walking near me, I make my eye laser like shine red across a couple times.
Well, I was wondering if you're going to do the like the
no,
blades.
Or like one of the arms is like malfunctioning, so it's like
so they definitely give you a wide berth, and then they kind of bustle you 2 down the ramp, basically leading away from the ship. And the one turns back to you who spoke originally and says, sir, we could actually see to you right here. There's no need to make you go back to the workshop. We've got many guards here ready to go whenever needed.
Did I stutter? I don't have time for your I don't even know what I have time for. Listen, I need to get back to the shop. I need to be able to grab some things, and I need this ship unsecured from the dock, and I need to be able to take off when I get back. Can I at least trust you to guarantee me that you're going to be able to do that? Why are all these guards still here? Shouldn't you guys be patrolling, the streets?
And they're all sort of like looking at each other, like kind of, and the one turns back and then says, all right, you can return over to the port. Let them know over port security that we need these mag locks released. And he turns back to you and says, in the meantime, standard protocol, sir, I assume you're going to want a full sweep of the inside and decontamination before departure.
Did I ask you for standard procedure? I have to make a quick exit.
Well, but last time this happened, sir, something bad happened. You told us if we ever forgot secret procedure, you were going to cut off our head and hang us by our tongues. That was.
And now I am telling you something different. Listen, do you know who you actually work for? I pay the bills here, but do you know who you actually work for?
And one of them, they're like, you told us never to ask you who you work for, sir.
Exactly. That's because if I told you, it would present you with a large set of problems. How many kids do you have?
I don't have kids, sir, but
do you want to have children?
He's kind of like he kind of just
do you
trails
want
off.
Anybody in your family to have children?
He kind of, he sort of says, well, my mom wanted me to, sir, someday. Maybe.
Do you talk to your mom often?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Because you can tell her that she is the reason that you are still breathing. Now get out of my way, let me take care of my business, and then make sure that I've got clearance to get off of this rock so that I can deliver this and be back in time to enjoy. And he points up to the sky and he's like, the use of that. Do you see what that is? And he's pointing at just someplace randomly in the sky.
It looks like you're pointing at that's Lauren Jaw, that direction, sir. Is that
no, you don't actually see it. There's going to be something fantastic later, right up there. But for now, I need to go do this. Can I go now?
Yeah, and he he kind of slides out of the way, and kind of, yes, sir. We'll be right here, sir, right outside. Whenever, yes, sir. Good luck, sir. Thank you for this, sir. And you proceed past with the guard still in front of you. Yeah, go ahead.
And the moment that we get out of earshot of most of them, Aramis is going to click over to the on a two-way that we would have set up with Jarva and say the lock should be cleared soon.
He says, "All right, don't take too long. I have an itchy trigger finger when it comes to having a free and open ship that happens to belong to me." And then he chuckles and says, "I'm just kidding, but really hurry up."
I'm glad that you're laughing, but I'll kill you if you do otherwise.
I would expect nothing less. He kind of chuckles, and then the comm disconnects. A few minutes later,
I don't think they're going to honor the code.
Yeah. A few minutes later, you find yourself pulling up to the edge of the shop, or I should say the door of the shop, where Sleepwell first encountered apparently Ibis that was pretending to be Sanic, this cyber merchant. And when you enter the store, you actually see that there are no guards at the moment, or at least none that are obvious. But of course, the two guards are with you that have Petra and Sleepwell. And so you all sort of pile into the shop, which is not a huge place to begin with. And then the two guards that are there just sort of stand looking around at everyone.
All right, you two, secure them to those chairs right there. And he points over to two chairs that are right in here. And he's like, and then I want you to step outside. I don't want to be disturbed. I'm going to be here for 10 minutes, and I need every single second of those 10 minutes. We clear?
And one of them says, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like, kind of voice cracks a little bit. And they do secure using, not actually, fairly good job, Petra and Sleepwell, like using some kind of, it seems like security issue manacles, sort of like the ones that Kaz said that he has. And they kind of secure them, attaching them to chairs, like putting their arms behind them with the manacles on. And then they step back, and one of them begins to leave, and the other one says, you need anything else, sir?
Get out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir. And they depart, and they are now outside the building, and you are apparently left alone.
Immediately, I jump out of Kaz's arms and be like, let's get them out. We got to do this. We got barely
What
time.
is
That was.
What does that look like? Are you walking?
Yeah.
Are you like a dwarf or something?
They've never seen his legs, I don't think, so they would assume that that me having legs, because I can only vaguely change the shape, right? I can't really make it much.
Hiding your legs when I'm holding you or something.
Right, exactly. So
Anyway.
immediately we just gotta jump and go.
Okay. Now that you're able to do that, now are you trying to free Petra and Sleepwell first from their manacle thing? So when you had them leave, you did not actually have them leave a way to open the manacles. So do you want to try to hack into these things, or?
Well, okay.
All
I say
right.
to Artemis, wait, why don't we just leave them like this, act like we interrogated them, and then have them come back in, release them, and take them back?
Okay, but didn't we need the kid to do some things here? Or is he just going to tell me to do things?
Well, what do we need aside from, oh, yes, I remember, repairing the thing. Got it. No, there's a reason why I'm the robot that can't talk. And I just kind of stand there and look intimidating.
First things first, let's just get that keypad door open and see what's behind it.
And Aramis basically says, "You got the code, Kaz."
I do. And so there is a back storage door to this.
There is a back storage door, and there does seem to be a keypad next to it.
I attempt to use the access code we found on him.
So it says, so you put that in, and you hear this, doo-doo-doo-doo, and then it says, password accepted. Voice print confirmation, please.
I turn to Artemis.
Open the damn door.
And there's a long pause, and then acknowledged, and the door opens.
Awesome.
So
that's totally legit.
When the door opens, the sort of automatic lights from the top of the ceiling go on, and for a minute, anyone who was looking into the room is sort of blinded. There is a bunch of sort of what looks like sparkling something, and as your sort of vision adjusts, you can see that there are all kinds of materials, metal materials, that are piled up here. It actually looks like almost bars, gold bars, silver bars, some other kind of plastometal bars, like a bunch of these that are sort of stacked around the room. There are also various like crates and containers and things like that that can be possessed, that could basically hold God knows what. This isn't a huge room back here, but there seems to be some of it that's, kind of available. But most disturbing, perhaps, is on one wall of this room. You actually see that there is what looks like some kind of a, almost like a standing bay, I guess might be the way to describe it. Almost looking like Sleepwell, like a med bay. Except this particular one, I see that we lost Zach. We will hopefully get him back in just a second. So, except this, so I know the pictures are messed up, hang in there, chat. So, except this particular one has something inside it. As you look up at this thing inside the med bay, it looks very much to you like you were looking at Alfred, but it's not totally the Alfred that you left behind on Peltiveria. This Alfred looks like that same thing, but its arms have been replaced with what looks like long bladed weapons. In fact, if you had to guess, this looks very much like Alfred if he had the arms of a Canassi. And now as you look around, you can see that below all the sparkling bars that were stacked up and crates, you can see that there are other parts on the ground and on several long tables that are kind of around the edge of the room right next to the gold and sparkling bars. And on them, you can actually see other what look like small Canassi parts, if you had to guess. And it looks, for all the world, as if this thing you're looking at is some kind of a strange prototype.
Mm. So right now, now Sleepwell is trying to struggle to get out of his manacles, being like, what is going on in there?
Yep.
And I'm tied to a chair, right?
Yes, you are manacled, like with your arms behind you around the chair, yep.
Okay.
I jump back into Kaz's arms, navigate back to the door, open it slightly. I need the key.
And one of the guards sort of like starts like, what, sir? I'm sorry.
I need the key to the manacles.
Oh, you sure you want to do that, sir? These could be dangerous. They're dangerous prisoners. No, sir?
I have a big robot.
And they kind of...
He's a big, nasty affair. I think I'm going to be okay.
And he kind of nods and says, all right, sir, all right, you've got the key. I've got the what? Oh, yes. And he kind of reaches and gets this this thing, and it's a little chip that looks like it plugs in, almost like a USB sort of thing, and hands it over to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I close the door,
right.
Jump out of Kaz's arms, and run over to let Will and Petra out of their shackles.
Okay, so both of you are freed from those. And what you missed, Zach, while you were gone, is that inside this back room is not only this sort of sparkling bars that sort of are blinding, but this sort of med bay almost was what it looks like. But standing in it right now, inert and inanimate, is what looks like a cross between Alfred and a Canassi. The arms are this bladed Canassi arms, but it's got the body of Alfred. See you, Vanithu. Thanks for stopping by.
So I'm headed kind of like right in and looking to see if, as I approach, does the thing look even conscious or is it even alive?
It is completely, it looks like it's in like either a trance state or like a just kind of, it's not moving at the moment. It does seem to have several wires connecting it to the bay. And at the moment its head is just raised and it just is looking, its eyes are closed.
Is it bound to the gurney or whatever it's on?
Well, it's standing, and it's only bound
it's
standing, and it's only bound in the sense that there are wires connecting it.
Okay.
Is there like a console that the wires are connected to?
Yeah, if you look on the side of the machine, there is, yes, a small one.
I say to Sleepwell, if this is anything like a Canassi, maybe it has a cloak mode.
Right. I'm going to get on that console and see if I can turn it on.
Okay.
What?
Make a computers check for me, please.
Okay.
You're going to do what now? Wow.
Crit.
Nice.
You just so you're like, there's some serious good checks from you folks today. So you just run through, and as you begin to do this, you actually begin to see some patterns developing, Sleeple, in terms of how they actually put together some of the coding of this. It's fairly impressive, but its impressiveness sort of stems from its simplicity. It's not some brand new code that you're having to deal with. It's actually just working along sort of established principles. And as you're typing this in, there feels something oddly familiar about all this, as if you've sort of like You feel like you've had to use codes like this on consoles before, even though you don't know why that would be. But you kind of go through things, and then you get to a menu, basically, that opens things up. And there are a couple of options there, which is basically 3 options, which is activate, destruct is number 2, and then there's a little asterisk next to it. Thank you for the follow, Lucifer. There's a little asterisk next to it which says requires confirmation. That's next to the destruct option. And then 3 is disconnect. So activate, destruct, and disconnect.
Yeah, activate, destruct, and disconnect.
Press all 3 at once, see what happens.
No.
Do it.
So, mostly what I'm concerned about is not getting in our way right now. So, I ask, if we leave it alone, I think, it should be okay because it won't activate then.
All right.
So let's just get what we need and get out.
All right. That means we're leaving it for the shadow technocracy to claim. But I don't think there's anything we can do about that.
Well, we could destroy it.
From my memory of Alfred's, that destruct has a very wide radius.
Wait, memory of Alfred? Who's Alfred?
Before we met you, we had a robot, a special robot, named Alfred, that was very powerful and well desired. What, Artemis? What?
Technically, we still have Alfred. We just have to go back to Peld to Varia,
where he's being kept with Leo.
What the?
I'm sure Leo is not there, but we're gonna be able to find the lead on where Leo's gone if we head back to Peld to Varia.
Who's
Anyway.
Leo?
Well, Leo's just...
No time.
Yeah.
But wait, you have part of this robot somewhere else? Do you want to take this part with us?
It's not about part. We have another one. This isn't the first one we've encountered.
I don't think, unless we cover it with a drape or something, I don't think we're getting this thing out of here without more questions.
No.
You said it'll explode. Could we explode it behind us?
I don't know.
So,
If that's possible.
Seeing that I critted that roll, like, can I tell if there's going to be like a countdown mechanism to destruct?
Yes, you think it would not be like destruct and then immediately boom. You think you could actually set it to destruct after a certain period of time.
Guys, I think I can set this to destruct after a period of time.
Although it says requires approval by who?
Wait.
No, confirmation, not approval.
Sleep well. Let me just... Kid, it's gonna blow up the entire area. Like, we're talking this thing is gonna blow and it's gonna be big and massive. I'm not a big fan of death, and I know that you are not either. Let's not do that.
You mean it's gonna kill like people in the area? Or... Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This rock that you're standing on, this, and he points to the ground. This won't be here anymore, and that planet over there, and maybe some of the other moons. That was what we were told.
That's what we were told.
Whoa.
It's pretty big, yeah. We don't know the capacity of this thing, though. Looks like it's been worked on. Anyway.
It's had its arms removed. I don't think it's gonna be...
Well, who knows if this is an authentic Alfred or not. Or if this started as a Kanasi. I don't know. Look, let's just
let's just do what we need to do and go.
Let's just leave it.
Oh, okay. Do we want stuff? And I just kind of like look around. It's like gold bars, sorium, maybe. We seem to be in short supply of that all the time.
Okay, so I have a question for didn't Sleepwell get taken in like a... Oh no, that was us. We actually got taken down a tunnel, and Sleepwell went back to the streets with...
Right, you went down this sort of sewer levels from the bar.
Right, okay. Is there any type of like sled or any type of like a cargo sort of like a wagon or something that we can
There does look
commandeer
like
here?
there's some kind of anti-grav, sort of a larger version of that disc that was designed clearly to carry cargo that you can see there. And it's a mechanism that's fairly simple. They have a lot of anti-grav platforms like this, especially on smaller bases.
I think the kid's right. Let's float it up. I'll ride this thing.
Okay,
Sorry?
now what are you loading up? Because you got at this point, about 5 minutes before the guards come in to check on you. So you can load in some stuff, but you're going to have to make a call. You can try to load up some of the gold and silver. You can try to, see if you can track down energy sources, which is what Sleepwell had sort of pointed to. You can bring along the Kanasi Alfred. I mean, what do you want to specifically try to aim for?
Is there like a covering in here? I don't know. No. Kaz says, I think it's more trouble than it's worth. Honestly, I would rather let them... I don't know. It's like, I have a bad feeling that if we let them have this thing in approximately 10 levels, even though I don't know what levels are, and it's going to be like, hey, I'm back. Remember when you saw me in this workshop 10 levels ago?
You should have killed me when you had the chance.
So
I don't think we have enough time.
Yeah.
The shadow these jerks, all right? These let's call them these a-holes, all right? They're going to be coming back at us with this. I think you're right. As much as I want the money, because I don't want to have to work for a living. I think you're right. I think we need to take this.
And now
I think
we
we
need
need
2 Alfreds. Why do
No.
we have this problem?
we
have a
dump
problem.
this one.
Wait. You want to take the thing that you said could explode like 3 planets away with us right now instead of like gold or energy?
I want to
Got
dump
about
it.
3 minutes left.
I want to dump it someplace. Sleepwall.
We're running out of time. Let's do what we're gonna do.
I want to dump it. I want to make sure that it's just nobody else is going to use it.
All right. I don't know what's
Wise.
happening. I don't know who Alfred is or Leo is, but I'm pressing disconnect.
Okay. So do you do that?
Yes.
Okay. When you press disconnect, the cables disconnect from the thing behind it, from the the bay behind it, and otherwise it doesn't move. But it is now disconnected from the bay.
And so then I just graciously bow and say, like, your Alfred awaits.
Is there some sort of a drape or covering in this room that we could use for the grav?
Not exactly. There might be. There's probably some stuff that you can find. You could probably cover it. You'd have to work very quickly, but you could probably cover it with almost like pieces of the wood crate. Like basically, you could, depending on how you do this, sort of lay it down, and then put a couple of empty crates that you can see that are sort of just open against the wall, and kind of put it over the body. It's going to look a little weird, but you could theoretically cover most of its body that way. You've got about 2 minutes.
Aramis is going to jump on the sled,
Okay.
and he's going to get it in position in such a way that he's the first thing that they see on the sled when they're entering.
All right.
And then they can be, doing whatever they do. But I'm gonna play interrupt, or I'm gonna, run interference while
Okay.
this is going on.
All right. Okay, and that's, so you're placing it, and then these other, so you are placing it and then other things, right? To cover it theoretically, or trying to. Okay.
Yep.
So working together, you're able to do this. You kind of mess up the back room, but you're basically able to do that. And you come out of the back room with this, thing on this sled, which Sleepwell, you're able to just basically turn on the anti-grav thing. That's pretty easy to do. And when you leave from it, it's just as the door closes behind, just as the 2 guards are entering. And the one to the right says, all right, do you have everything you need, sir? Did you find out what you needed to? Wait, why are the prisoners up, sir? Why are the prisoners not here manacled?
I have them.
What's going on? The other one says.
I have them doing a job for me. All right.
And the one says,
That's
but I
how
thought
I
they
did-
were a prisoner.
Listen, get your ass in here and help them load this stuff.
I need you to make a deception check for me again, please. Well, so they're like, the one's like, I don't think this is a good idea. And the other one says, I'm inclined to, I don't know if we can, this needs to be authorized, sir. We're going to need a couple of voice codes to do this. And at this point, Jarva just sort of beeps into your little earpiece, Aramis, Kaz, Petra, and Sleepwell. And you hear him saying, so they released the maglocks, but I just saw some things starting to gather, and they're talking to each other outside the ship. What's going on over there?
Hold the fort. We'll be right there. And I look over to Kaz. You ready to kill these guys?
And at that point, from behind you, beneath the crates, you hear what sounds to you like a very familiar voice saying, would you prefer to allow creatures to exit this world? Please instruct creators.
Oh, God.
And that is where we're going to leave this session. Oh my goodness me. Oh, well, damn it.
Call this guy 2.0.
Yep. Man, what a fun session. Oh man, I love watching you guys work through that. Good stuff. Wait a minute, what just happened? Why did everyone changed your positions somehow? All right, wait, you go here. You go here. Over here. Really, this is like the equivalent of what happened in the game too. Like all of a sudden, just everything like did weird things. Right, Petra goes.
Okay, Zach, we got this, buddy.
There we go, and this goes there. Yay! There we go. I love it when a plan melts down. I think it's going. We'll see how it goes. Good stuff, though, everybody. Good stuff. I'm going to start with. This is going to make, for those of you who are like, "Oh my God, what happens next?" You'll find out a week from Friday. Let me jump over first of all to Zach, as always on the right of the screen. Zach, there was some interesting stuff going on with all of the plan and the plan to making and speechifying and so forth. How did you feel about today's session, and where will the fun folks see you next?
This was super fun. I'll just leave it at that. I enjoyed every minute of it, and either we get killed by a bunch of renegades, we blow ourselves up and an entire moon base, or we somehow make it out of this alive, and we have 2 Alfreds, and one of them has like Kanasi parts.
Yeah,
which is good.
That'd be great.
It's like a win. It's a lose win.
That'll be fine.
We'll see how we.
It's a lose
how
that spirals into a
We're
win.
fine.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yes.
It'll be fun.
So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this session. It was very fun on a Monday. Nice to have fun on a Monday as opposed to just the normal Monday being Monday. So
True.
that was very nice. And the internet will see me next on either our vocalists or on the next session of Esper Genesis here on this channel, and also doing other things. I should have. I'm developing a thing and I'm commissioning artwork for it. So you might see some artwork related posts on my Twitter. But yeah, that's about it.
Good stuff, Zach. It was a pleasure to have you in the fold as always. And yes, you will see Zach will be with us as part of the full crew a week from Friday, is what's happening. Not sure yet about our vocalist this month for Zach because it depends on the schedule and everything else. But if not, then of course he would definitely be back for that in April. So, but definitely you will see him back as Kaz, who will get a chance maybe to try out his swift shot execution style, shiv followed by shot. We'll see how we go. Moving right along, Carlos, always a pleasure again. It was really, I was really enjoying Sleepo being like, who the hell is Leo? Like all these things, it's like, you guys are like, well, Leo is, never mind. It's just like, And then after they had convinced you, like, no, very bad. Then they're like, we should take it with you. And you're like, did you say it was very bad? I thought it was. I was reminded of is it Egon in Ghostbusters? He's like, I thought you said we should not cross the streams. I thought you said we don't cross the streams ever. I thought that's what. Right. But anyway, how did you feel about today's session, and where will the fine folks see you next?
Yeah, tons of fun. I mean, I was playing a little bit of catch up, not being here at last session. I did watch the at least a lot of the last session, just like trying to catch up a little bit. But it's different when you live it, in terms of like trying to remember things. So
yeah.
But it was a really fun session. It was, we spent a long time just sort of like coming up with this insane plan that then, through amazing dice rolls just started working, which is one of my favorite things about the D20 system. It's like, just the right kind of dice can make all sorts of ludicrous things happen.
Yep.
So, yeehaw. So tons of fun. Can't wait to see how we die. And I'll be here next week to find out. And in the meantime, I'm going to have my book launch at Books of Wonder. So those of you who are...
Oh, nice.
It'll be in 18th Street, the flagship store of Books of Wonder. I think they've expanded now. So yeah, if you happen to be in the New York area, come on by 6 to 8. I'll sign a book for you.
Very nice. And yes, everyone go and get Carlos's book, Sal and Gabby Break the Internet, which is I'm sorry, break the internet, break the universe.
Yeah,
I was Freudian slip,
internet.
but it is breaking the internet though. Yeah, Sal and Gabby break the universe, but they are breaking the internet in the process. So you should definitely get this. It's got huge buzz. Like I said, I am looking forward to getting the book myself, and I think it's going to be great. So congratulations again, Carlos, and you will have a chance to see more of that happening out. So it's going to be good times. As far as the next session, that'll be Week Friday. Oh my God, Von Ether with the resub with the Twitch Prime. Thank you, Von Ether. I thought you were going to bed, but thank you for the resub. I appreciate it very, very much. Von Ether, who is from Alligator Alley Entertainment, which sponsors this very stream. Cool. We are starting at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on that Friday, so which is a little later than we start normally, but it's because I'm going to be at ICFA. In fact, Carlos and I will both be at ICFA, so we will be streaming from there live, and then we will remote in Zach and Kat and Johnny from their various places, all the West Coast, basically. We'll be remoting them in from there, which is going to be awesome, so you should definitely check that out. But thank you, Carlos. Always a pleasure. Moving right along. So, Kat, Petra learned there were some things that happened, like some stuff and things. So I'm curious about how you felt about all of that and where the fine folks will see you.
I'm really excited about these new revelations and mysteries in Petra's life and how threads are coming together. I think this is going to be really exciting. I didn't get any chance to hit anything, which is...
This was not a hitting episode.
This was not a hitting episode, I acknowledge. I'll figure
Well, they hit you, though. She hit you with the hammer.
Well, they did hit me, okay.
So.
Fair enough. Where you'll see me next, if you are going to be at Emerald City Comic Convention, please come by the Bard's Tower. I will be there selling books and hanging out and chatting. I should be there throughout most of the convention. And I will be here on the 15th.
Awesome. We're looking forward to that. And yes, you should definitely check that out. I've always thought it'd be cool to go to the ECCC, so maybe someday I will get back out there during that time. Emerald City is in Seattle, Steve B. Dancer. That's I think it's held at the Downtown Convention Center?
It's down in the convention center, right in downtown Seattle.
Yeah, I know. I actually ran into Adam Rakunis because my wife is from out there, so we're out in Seattle pretty much once a year at least. And so anyway, we talked to him a little bit about that, and he was digging it. You're in New York, so am I, Steve. So is Carlos. We're all New Yorkers together, so you're shoveling out from the snow as well. But anyway, always a pleasure, Kat. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to the 15th and having you back and finding out more about things. And last but certainly not least, of course, Johnny Aramis really got a chance here to do more sort of blossoming and all that stuff, and it was great. And then it was all like, I was really enjoying the constant sort of browbeating followed by you're like, there's a certain point where everything starts to fold in on itself, and you're like, this is not, and like it was almost like the dice were like, for a change, you're not going to get the most awesome roll of all time. And so, how did you feel about today, and where will the fine folks see you next?
The dice actually reflected exactly how I wanted that to go. I think it's great that the dice, sort of gave me that opportunity for Kaz and I to get in there without problems, and then get ourselves into trouble, get ourselves deep enough so that now we have to, fight our way out, which was exactly what Kaz predicted. So yeah. I think it's, we're batting 100 or 1,000 there. So yeah, fine folks will see me next over on MMA Gaming's channel tomorrow. I'll be running the Emberwind game that we're doing over there called Unsung. We are finally at the end of the Skies of Axia campaign book, so we're kind of off book, and we still have 4 episodes, so there's going to be more politics, more intrigue, and less static combat. So good times.
Good stuff. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing a little bit of that. Those basically, the weeks are alternating, one on Unmade Games channel and then one on mine, where John Helfers is GMing the Emberwind thing. And so far, unlike John, Johnny has not killed off his entire party. So that's there have been
really tried. I've really tried.
No TPKs as of yet. But I'm looking forward to that, and you'll be hearing more from Johnny on this channel as well, I predict, as time goes on. And I do want to mention before I let these folks go, for those two, because I assume the players are watching, but just in case they didn't, that my Forbidden Library adventure, which I run for members of the Gen Con Writer Symposium, a Kickstarter for that is starting on March 19th, and I mention it only because Alligator Alley Entertainment, well, I mentioned it because I wrote it and I'm going to be making a big deal of it, but I'm also mentioning it because Alligator Alley Entertainment is the ones who are publishing it. So for Von Ether AE, who is in chat and just was nice enough to resub, and everybody, this is happening, and so we are all fans of Alligator Alley Entertainment here, obviously, and so I'm very excited that they're doing this. It's going to be really cool. So yeah, but I'm going to let my players go. Thank you all so much for making time for this special Monday session, and I will see all of you wonderful folks offline in various places, but online I'll see you back here a week from Friday. Chat, can we get some love for our amazing players?
Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Greg.
Thank
Always
you.
pleasure.
Thanks, guys. It's been awesome.
And good night.
See you in 2 weeks.
All right. Good stuff. And yes, that thing, whoa, what happened to my camera? There we go. I was like, what's going on with that? And yes, that thing we were just talking about is this, the Tales and Tomes for the Forbidden Library. As I exit from the game music, which is great, but there we go. So yes, Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, which is, again, it's going to be 2 weeks from, actually it's Tuesday now in New York, so 2 weeks from today we will be launching this, March 19th, Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, and it will be running until April 19th. And again, I'm just very excited about the feel of it. The video is coming together that'll introduce it. I'm just, like I say, it's the first of several publishing projects that I'm going to be involved in this year, and this is a big year for me professionally with a lot of stuff going on, and so the other projects I'm going to be able to announce fairly soon. Can't do so immediately though, but this one I can announce, and this one is a really good place to start. My first real tabletop adventure start to finish. I've obviously written quite a bit for tabletop stuff in terms of story and lore and things like that, but in terms of actually writing an honest-to-God adventure, this is the first time that I've been able to do something like that, and it's both an adventure and a source book, and so it's cool. So I'm very excited for all that, so it's going to be good stuff. And thank you, Steve B. Dancer. I also want to give a shout out to chat today, because I thought chat had some really interesting things they were connecting to. I love the sort of back and forth communication in chat, so thank you all so much for being a part of it. And again, the more we spread the word, the more we can get this out. Obviously, this is not a usual stream day for me, but it was really cool to see people really enjoying themselves. That is what this is all about. So thank you all for being a part of it. And thank you to Alligator Alley Entertainment for sponsoring us, of course, as always. Tomorrow, I'm going to be with you, Tuesday, I should say later today, just about 12 hours from now, actually. I'm going to be with you playing the Bard's Tale 4 Barrows Deep. I am almost done with that game, really enjoying that game a lot. And then I'll be over on GOG with my Pen and Pixel show doing Thronebreaker as per usual. After that, I will be off channel until Friday, at which point I will be back with, and I don't 100% remember what I have scheduled for Friday, and I'm certainly not going to know if I spell calendar with an M. There we go. Let me double check quickly. What have we got going on? Oh, yes. So I also have Bard's Tale 4 Barrows Deep coming up on Friday. And then Saturday, mini marathon session of The Legend of Zelda. So a very rare mostly video game week. Mostly, that's very unusual. And it changes obviously next week, because next week we've got tabletop on Tuesday, tabletop on Thursday, tabletop on Friday, tabletop on Saturday. The following one, we've got the official launch of this Alligator Alley thing that I just mentioned, the Forbidden Library. And then we've got D&D with GOG, so it's more tabletop. Then we've got the our vocalists on Saturday, hopefully the 23rd. We've got the game book illustration the week after that, plus more Emberwind, plus Masters of the Dungeon, plus that. So we got a lot of stuff going on, but definitely tabletop is coming up in spades. But this week a little bit more video game stuff, starting with tomorrow at 12 o'clock. So I hope you all will join me for that. Thank you everyone who made this an awesome stream tonight. We are going to do a raid, by the way, and the way it's going to work is people are going to hang out here until after I do the video. Once we have done the outro video, then you're going to do this. If you are not a sub, you're going to do the Arvanauts Have Landed, followed by Twitch raid, lowercase Twitch, uppercase R, lowercase AID, all one word. If you are a sub, you're going to do this, which is, thank you so much, DB Dancer, I appreciate that, which is the Arvanauts Have Landed, followed by Arvane Hype, ARVANE, lowercase, uppercase H, lowercase YPE. That is going to look like that when you actually type it in chat. And again, once I do the raid, you can feel free to go wherever you like, but it's nice if you can stick around just for the raid, be automatically brought there, do the raid message, and say hi. If you like where I take you, great, and if not, then you can just you can head off. That's what I'm saying. It's tired. It's getting late. You can head off, and I will see all of you wonderful folks on Tuesday. I want to thank everyone for being awesome today. Exclamation point Arv. First of all, follow the channel. Exclamation point Arv Cord to join my Discord channel and hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams. Exclamation point Arv Tube is always helpful. Exclamation point that gets you to my YouTube channel. Exclamation point Arv Tweets will get you to my Twitter, where you can follow me over there. Exclamation point Arv Shop will let you get to my merchandise area, where you can pick up stuff for Infinity and Beyond, and soon to be merchandise for Esper Genesis, and hopefully AME as well. Exclamation point Arv Treon will allow you to support that Patreon right there, which is always appreciated. Thank you so much for the follow, Sir Stalwart. I appreciate that. Exclamation point Arv Shop for that. Thank you so much, Aradinel. Also, thank you for adding some of those commands today. And then exclamation point Arv Treon, I already mentioned. And last but certainly not least, that sub button. Now, we ended up actually getting a few more subs today because of gift subs and resubs. So we are currently sitting at 43 subs today, which is really great. Thank you also so much for that. Obviously, that also helps us get more emotes as well. So we're actually at 48 sub points. So we're closing in on being able to get up to that 50 sub point plateau. And the more subscribers we get, the more that's going to help as well. So thank you everyone for being an awesome part of all of this. And I think, let me see who I'm going to go raid here today. Who am I going to raid? I think I know who I'm going to raid today, actually. Yeah, I know who I'm going to raid. Okay, cool. I know who we're going to raid, but the key is to make sure you wait just until after this is done, and then you'll be brought over automatically, and then you can drop those raid messages and then head off wherever you like. Thank you so much to my wonderful mods. Thank you to Aradinel today for holding down the fort on a Monday. Thank you to Echo Alpha X5, to Nonstop, Brahms, Kooky Canuck, Steve B. Dancer, Von Ether AAE. Thank you all for the resubs, and thank you to Aradinel for gifting out subs today as well a couple times. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you to Active Energy, another TT viewer, Banana Men. Thank you to Barnaby J. I don't think I've seen you in here before, Barnaby. I hope you like what you saw and heard and will support, follow, etc. Thank you to Cat Rambo, as always, for being amazing. Thank you so much for your play tonight. Thank you to Commander Root, to Cyphus, to Terminologies. Thank you to Green Fox Leader. I don't think I've seen you in here at Green Fox before. I hope you like what you saw and heard and will follow and support with a Patreon or subbing or whatever you can do. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to Hichelle Gwezer. What's up, Hichelle? Thank you to Host Giveaway. Thank you to I think that's Poker, L Poker. Thank you to L Poker. Thank you to Joby Essen. I wonder if that's Joby at Essen, but I don't think I've seen you in here before, so I hope you like what you saw. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to Lit13, to Mubot. Thank you to Mr. Man01, Mrs. Dunsel. What's up, Mrs. Dunsel? Thank you to Netved. Thank you to No Name Namer, Politsai, Positivity Bot for always keeping me positive. Thank you to Sir Stalwart for following tonight. Thank you to you, Christensen, V&K, Video Store Cowboy. Again, thanks for your play, Video Store Cowboy. And thank you to Virgo Praz. And most of all, thank you to my players. Thank you you to Johnny. Thank you to Video Store Cowboy. Thank you to Cat Rambo. Thank you to Carlos Hernandez. Thank you to Zach Clay. Wonderful stuff out of all the players tonight. And thank you to Alligator Alley for sponsoring us. And with that said, I'm going to let you all go. I will be back here, as I say, Tuesday at 12 p.m. for some Bard's Tale 4 Barrows Deep. But now, stick around for the raid, and I will see all of you wonderful people soon. Until then, thanks everyone. To infinity and beyond, as they might say, in space. Everyone have a pleasant night. Everyone be good to each other. Talk to you soon.
When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I grew older, I set aside childish ways. Corinthians 13:11. In the distant future, mankind has spread into the stars and found it is not alone. Within the cluster of planets known as the Silrain Heart, many races strive for survival or supremacy. But throughout this array of planets, societies, and cultures, each has one thing in common: the crucibles. Scattered throughout the galaxy, each moon-sized structure contains a core of raw sorin, a form of mysterious energy used to power ships, cities, and sometimes the warping of the fabric of reality itself. Beings who can do this have been given a name: Espers. The power of God has been granted to God's children. It is a time of terror. It is a time of wonder. It is the time of Esper Genesis.